fucking ale with the chocolate literally brewed into it with the nice cocoa taste and all that stuff, right? And that's all Colorado. And I don't like, my mother knew the culture, but she was never out in the brew and smoke scene like I was. Like, we were in the brew and smoke scene. Like, we spent most of our time trying to figure out how to go get high with our friends. Even outside on the patios of the bars, we would get high, you know? And we would drink a lot of fucking Colorado native beer. Colorado craft native beer. And something about 5280 really fucking crafts good fucking beer, like some of the best in the world. Like Germany's good too, because they've got the Alps. Good high altitude, is good for brewing beer. And I like, Colorado beer is like a way of life for me, and it's weird because my family is teetotaler kind of, in the respect, well, they're not teetotaler. My mother's not teetotaler, but my stepdad is. He does not like drugs or liquor. And it's weird because those things were extremely strong in my culture. And I come from an area where someone like him wouldn't have socially done well. He would have been an outcast, and we would have been frowning at him a bit and been like, what's wrong with this guy? He doesn't drink or smoke? You know, even everybody's sister drinks and smokes in Denver. You know, everybody's sister drinks and smokes in Denver. You know, everybody's mother drinks and smokes in Denver. Everybody I knew drink and smoke. There was a few kind of uppity college people that I knew over in the DU area that were kind of above it, you know. But the majority of everybody I fucking knew was definitely at the bars and drinking the Colorado native beer on the patio and smoking fucking Colorado weed. And it was like a fucking thing. Mile High is a fucking thing. I'm extremely proud of it, and I am not ashamed of my past or my drug use or my drinking or any of that stuff. I've never been. It's a strong culture. Think like NASCAR dad. I come from Mile High. Mile High is extreme, just as strong, runs just as deep, and just as fucking passionately as NASCAR dads. It's deep. Like like my love of Voodoo Ranger is like my love of women and like, you know, video games. It's fucking deep, and it's weird. It's like foreign and alien and scary to my family. So I've had to curb that whole side of my personality. But I don't know anyone. It's weird about this. I know a few people out here, but not really. And like, I don't know anyone. Even out here, they all smoke speed, weed, and drink. I don't know anybody who isn't like that. And that's really weird to me when I meet somebody who is. It's like an alien to me. I'm like, how did you get away with that in this culture? You know? How do you have friends and a successful career when you're a teetotaler in 2024? I don't really understand that. It was a cultural thing where we come from. You know, I'm not trying to shame them for their life choices. That's totally fine. I don't care if they don't drink. I'm not saying it's a shame. I'm saying that understand my derision of it. It's almost like a Christian's derision of other people's religions or something, you know? Like, I kind of don't really recognize people who think that drinking and smoking weed is evil. I don't really recognize them as people. They seem to kind of godless to me. They're like, to me, they're kind of like people that sort of have lost their way, you know? And that's weird to come from a culture that's so inundated in it, that shame is this thing that is foreign to me. Like, I know that my parents want me to feel shame that I like Colorado beer or whatever, or they want me to feel shame when I drink it or something like that. I know they do, but I'm sorry, that one is fucking foreign and weird and creepy feeling to me. It's creepy when it's like the censorship and the drug war stuff that they still push, that weird baby boomer culture. It's weird and fucking creepy to me. I kind of want it away from me a little bit. I'm like, no, I don't really understand that. I've never understood the judgment of a junkie. I never understood the judgment of an alcoholic unless they harm somebody. I've just never understood that. I don't really understand that kind of that pariah approach of rejection and I would say ostracization, the ostracization of, or like objectification of people who enjoy stuff that comes from the earth, like marijuana and hops. You know, do you understand how it sounds kind of evil to me? Because like marijuana and hops come directly from the fucking earth. These aren't godless things. They're they grow naturally out of the earth. They're not they're not, it's not cocaine. I mean, even cocaine is kind of like that if you don't abuse it, you know. It's kind of crazy. Like, so, you know, it's weird for me. I hate calling it godless, but that's how it feels to me, to have that little direction or cultural direction about what humanity actually is. It seems almost godless to me. You're like, how do you have that little direction to believe that something that comes from hops and marijuana is evil, or the imbibing of it, or any of that stuff? Now, there has been terrible things that have happened, like drunk driving, you know, so of course I validate their feelings about it, and I'm like, I do not begrudge your feelings about, you know, marijuana or alcohol, but it's still fucking foreign and fucking weird for me, and it's unsettling and weird. It probably is for the exact same way for them that it is that I did hard drugs. It's weird and sick to me that they have the judgment of it. It's weird and sick to me. It's sick, and it's killed our culture. It's weird and sick, their fucking judgment. And now I kind of want to judge them for it. The drug war and all their problems and all that judgment and stuff. They created all of that. That's a weird sickness that they created for themselves. And it seems kind of sick to me. It's weird and culturally sick. When they're teetotaler in 2024, it's like weird and autistic and culturally sick. All the stuff that they said about me, that's sort of what I believe about some of these weird straight people, you know? Like, I wouldn't be, like, not straight like their gender orientation, like weird teetotalers who pride to the world that they're normal or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. Normal is doing what everybody else does. You know? I hate seeing it that way now, and honestly, the one argument that I do like hearing is that they just don't like it. That's the one that I want to hear. And you know, honestly, you never hear about that. You hear about, oh no, that makes you do crazy shitty things, is what they always say, right? Oh no, alcohol or, you know, being drunk is stupid. You constantly get in problems, and you know, and you don't have any inhibitions, and bad stuff happens. And all this, you can see it in their eyes. They're like, no, that reduces your inhibitions. It makes you stupid and all that. You can see the judgment of it, and that's their first response almost always. But I wish they would just say, no, I don't like it, because that's easy. That's easy to accept. That one's easy to accept, but being like, no, that stuff is evil, it'll make you do bad things and all this, that shit is like, no, you are actually culturally sick, and you have been brainwashed by somebody, because the actual reality is, for 3 million years, we've been imbibing hops and marijuana like it's going out of business. That's the actual fucking truth of it. It's just like sex. We've been doing it since the dawn of man. The drugs and sex go right hand in hand. We've been doing that shit since the dawn of man, in this weird, like, puritanical American 50s fucking reality that drugs are evil, and that the people that do them are evil, and all this weird shit is actually the weird sickness. It's actually the weird sickness that killed the country. The pariah of it, the casting out of the people who have the issues with it, making it illegal, imprisoning people for it, all of this cultural sickness around it, the fear, all of that stuff, the fear of addicts, you know, all of that stuff, the stigma of it, the outcast pariah nature of what happens to the people who do it. That was the sickness, the weird, shitty, sinking feeling that you get thinking about maybe a beloved one or a family member or something becoming an addict. That's actually not a problem. We can address that and fix that inside of a day. That is not a problem. We even have drugs that will cure it inside of a day. That is not the actual issue. It was you casting them out, treating them like they were sick, treating them like they had a problem, making them hide, making them fucking feel shame about something that grows from the earth. You know, and all this crazy cultural sickness that they've had since the 30s about drugs. It's a cultural sickness in this country. They are fucking sick. They're sick in their heads about it, and I don't know how to fix it for them. I don't know. And on top of it, every human being since the dawn of man, pretty much, not every, but a lot, most human beings since the dawn of man have been drunk off of their fucking asses and high on whatever they can get access to since the dawn of man. And they've been slinging pussy, and they've been slinging butt, and they've been slinging blowjobs, and they've been doing that since the dawn of man. And the weird cultural pariah and all the words like cocksucker and slut and fucking junkie and all the derogatory judgment and bullshit and all this other shit, right? That's all what's actually deep inside their own souls. That is projection. That is the sickness that is actually in their own souls. That weird judgment, and then the desire to cast out people who do drugs and people who have butt sex or whatever, or people who are gay or whatever, or any sort of bigotry, or racism or any of it really. Like, I just don't really understand it. The whole dislike of it is actually the sick thing. It's not the other person of another race. It's not somebody who does drugs. It's not somebody who's a prostitute. It's your stigma and your fucking sickness and your judgment around it and your weird biblical fucking stigmas and your dogmas and all this weird shit and all of your taboo and all of your fear and all of your creepiness around this stuff is the actual fucking problem. And it's not the drugs or the addicts or the addiction or any of this stuff. It was actually the people who wanted to attack it. And be like, no, this is evil, wrong, it's sick, and these people are sick, and you're sick, you're degenerate, and all this other shit. You shouldn't have a home or a job, or you should be on the skid row as an alcoholic or a junkie or whatever if you have a drug problem. We're not going to help you or whatever. And no, you can't come home, and no, you can't get help, and no, I don't love you anymore, and all this stupid-ass shit that they did. It is their sickness deep down inside of their shitty souls that actually, like, caused this drug war disaster. Damn it. Why 2? It wasn't 16 rounds enough. Jesus Christ, man. You and your goddamn bullet sponge fucking idiocy. Get a fucking clue, you pieces of shit. Bullet sponge is not cool anymore, you fucking idiots. 16 rounds of down 2 dogs of any goddamn breed since the dawn of man. What the fuck is wrong with you? 16 rounds to kill 2 dogs. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you stupid? You seem to be so smart, you make all this money. But are you stupid? 16 rounds for 2 fucking dogs and it didn't even kill them? Jesus fucking Christ, are you fucking brain dead, piece of shit developer? Oh god. Keep up on your cardio, guys, or you can't outrun the zombie like this. Can I loot the body before he bites me? I don't know. But we're gonna try. Try. Loot. Go. Now. Give me the weapon. Don't stop. Okay, where are you? You fucker. Where are you? What? You and your fucking bullet sponge. Oh, hold on. Let me just put 15 headshots in him. You know? Fucking idiot developers. Please, it's such a nasty taste in my fucking mouth. Like, why do we pay you all this fucking money so you can fail like this? Jesus Christ. Get the bullet sponge the fuck out of the games. Make more goddamn monsters. Do not make the monsters have fucking 10,000 HP health bars. You're fucking stupid. Bullets hurt. Bullets kill things. Get it fucking right. Stop bullet sponging everything in video games. You're so stupid. You're so uncreative. Just make more mobs. Do more work. Stop making everything bullet sponge. You are such pieces of shit, kind of. Humans can take maybe 2, hopefully 4 shots. Dogs take 1, hopefully 2. You know, hopefully 1, but maybe 2. Maybe 5 at the most. But goddamn 8? No. Maybe 5 at the most, you know? Yeah, and it's still not dead. I don't know, man. I don't really buy that. Nah, I put a revolver in him. You know, what's that? A 38 fucking special. Shot him goddamn 8 times with a 38 special. You fucking idiot developers. Somebody needs to fucking say it. You are pieces of shit. You've got to get the bullet sponge out of your games. Somebody's got to tell you. You're so goddamn bad. You got to get the bullet sponge out of your fucking games. You're so stupid.
I have a set.
Stop doing that shit. Stop doing it. It is 2024. It was bad in the year 2000. It was bad back in the year 2000. You got to stop doing it. Be more creative. Write something more into the game. Make more mobs. Do something. Stop doing bullet sponge, you fucking cocksuckers. Nobody can sponge bullets. Nothing in reality can sponge bullets. Stop doing it. Stop doing that stupid, inane, lower than yourselves, lower than your standards, literally way beneath you. You are shooting way, way, way beneath you. Bethesda, Blizzard, Squaresoft, fucking, Face Punch, fucking, Epic, all these pieces of shit companies. You're punching below your fucking belt with the bullet sponge. You gotta stop. You gotta stop with it. You're killing your fucking industry. Stop with the goddamn bullet sponge now. It's been fucking almost 30 years of it. You gotta stop the bullet sponge. Bullets kill things.
A day, maybe 2,100.
It doesn't train anybody to be a better anything when you have to dump 15 mags into something. That doesn't lead to no, it doesn't make a better gamer. It doesn't lead to better game loops. You're just stupid. You're stupid. Get the bullet sponge out of your piece of shit fucking games. Get it out. I'm sick of having to hammer something for 45 fucking seconds in the head until it dies in every single fucking game that I play. Can't think of one that doesn't do it now. I can't think of one. All of you are fucking bullet sponge. Bullets fucking hurt. They hurt. It's not, oh, I shot the guy 32 times and he's not dead. Ah! That's your brain cells, idiot. That is your IQ. If you think it takes 32 headshots to kill someone, that's your fucking IQ, you piece of shit developers. Fuck you. Fucking bullet sponge in every fucking game I play. Why?
Regular lives average.
Nothing is the Terminator. If I wanted to play Terminator, I would go play Terminator. I don't want to see Terminator in every single fucking game that I fucking play. You gotta stop with it. You gotta stop. Dogs don't take 36 rounds. They just don't. They don't. It'd be 2 to 4. Humans take maybe 2 to 6 if you're lucky. Maybe if they're full-blown goddamn body armor, maybe 10. But sometimes in Fortnite, I'll light up goddamn chest ahead, and you'll count it. It's like 32 goddamn headshots, and you're like, what? The guy didn't die. And you know what it is. It's the opposite of the uncanny valley. It's the idiot valley. The only place Bullet Sponge belongs is the Idiot Valley and Terminator videos. Stop doing it. Things die. Bullets kill things. Melee swings with a giant two-hand axe. You got maybe 2 of those. I don't care what you are. You could be an elephant or, you could be a rhino. If I'm swinging a goddamn war axe at you, a two-hand war axe, you got maybe 2 hits. I don't care what living thing you are. You got maybe 2 hits. Not this 85 hits thing that every single modern RPG developer does. You're fucking stupid. Get the bullet sponge out of your worthless ass triple anus. I'm not gonna buy it anymore. Pieces of shit games. Get it out. Get the bullet sponge out of this game. Get the bullet sponge out of all the goddamn games. We're not playing Super Nintendo games where there's nothing you can do about it. We have full 3D games now. You don't need to make their health bars like a brick wall. You don't need to do that. You're low IQ. If it takes 36 shots to kill somebody in your fucking game, that's what your IQ is, you piece of shit developers.
American eats twice as much food as I do. And I'm not like super skinny, I'm just a regular sized dude.
Yes, you are.
After graduating high school, Jared enrolled in classes at Indiana University Bloomington and moved into one of the colleges.
Bloomington, I lived there once.
While living there, Jared quickly found that his
not Indiana, I'm sorry.
I
lived in Bloomington, Illinois.
Would not. For instance, because he could not walk to his classes properly as everyone else did, Jared was forced to drive.
I love yelling at developers righteously. I love doing it. I don't care. Fucking shove it up your fucking ass. Take your bullet sponge and shove it up your fucking ass. I'm serious. I'm sick of it. You do it in every single fucking game. Bullets kill things. Is this some kind of thing that you can't understand or I mean, seriously, it seems like you kind of are low IQ, or are we struggling with low IQ developers here? Because bullets kill things, guys. Are you bullets? This is my bullets kill things discussion. I didn't think I'd need to do this, but you're really stupid, and apparently I need to lecture you about basic high school physics. Bullets kill things. 2 bullets kill most of anything that's living. 2 bullets kills most living things. It could be maybe an elephant or a rhino might take 5, maybe 5, 10 things, 5 bullets, 5, 10 bullets, So some of these games, I'm dumping 1,500 rounds, and in 7 Days to Die, it's goddamn fucking 9 mags. And I'm sorry, in Rust, it's the same thing. I dumped 16 rounds into 2 wolves, point blank. Are you stupid? I know that you're making RPGs, but I mean, there's a level of realism with the Uncanny Valley that you need to worry about here, where like you're pretty good at immersing us in these games till you break the immersion with the bullet sponge and the one shot. You make our health bars way too easy to fucking deplete, and you make their health bars way too fucking hard. It's a simple fucking concept. I'll peg some dude in Rust sometimes 7 headshots, and he's running away, and I'm like, boy, those bullets in your cheek, they just don't hurt, huh? Those 7 bullets in your cheeks, around your teeth and your cranial cavity, they just don't hurt, huh? You're just totally just running away, huh? And I'm sorry, this is why I don't play a lot of crappy shooters. This is why I refuse to play Call of Duty, you know? I seriously, you know, and Call of Duty honestly doesn't suffer from that as bad as other games do. Call of Duty, one of the things you can say about it is bullets kill you. If you take 2 or 3 headshots, you're dead. Yeah, it doesn't matter what gun it is, you're dead. I love that about Call of Duty. It actually does, you do die if you get shot. I love that. Fortnite, it's like, oh no, I had to put 48 bullets in him, and he's still got 7 health. And you're like, oh no, the developer can't do math. The developer can't do math. The Fallout London thing is proof that the developers can't do math. Remember, right now, this week, they're talking on Kotaku about how the Fallout London piece of shit mod developers couldn't get the HP debuff thing of being in a train wreck correct. So they forced all the people that bought Fallout London to do math, like literally trigonometry to math in the console to get their health bar to the correct number. And that is proof that these developers literally do not know how to use calculators. They are that goddamn stupid. It's fucking proof of it. Fucking proof of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's right in the news right now. Fucking piece of shit mod developer couldn't even use a calculator correctly. And that's the people making our fucking video games that we spend $60 on. Look at what Bethesda did with Starfield. Like, Jesus Christ, man, this age of enshittification of everything, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I'll tell you what some of the enshittification is. I made a video about it, but then I realized that I was being too cliche, you know? I said, Dear Blizzard, one-shots, bullet sponge, and backfill are the 3 worst problems in gaming, right? Bullet sponge, one-shots, and backfill. And I don't know if you know what backfill is. That's when they put you on the losing team 5 minutes into the match. Or the winning team. Doesn't matter. It still sucks. It sucks to backfill. It's the worst thing in gaming. And they've been doing it for 25, 30 years. Just like they've been doing the piece of shit goddamn fucking bullet sponge. And they have to stop. They've got to stop with it. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh no, I don't really want to play your game. Like, every time I put fucking 10 rounds in something, I'm like, oh my god, do you know what a gun is, you piece of shit moron? I don't care if you have an RPG or not. I don't care if it's an RPG. Bullets kill things. Don't put the guns in your game then if you can't figure out what a gun does, you fucking piece of shit moron. Why did it take me 16 rounds and I couldn't kill those 2 wolves? I'll tell you why, because developer do. Quite literally, and I don't mean this as some kind of, like, you know, anti-handicap person thing. I'm talking about literally.
That he had to spend a significant amount of time
A
searching
5-year-old wouldn't have made the mistake they're making with this. They are literally like that. I'm not doing that to be derisive towards a handicapped person. I'm doing it to be derisive towards them. They are on the level of a fucking handicapped 5-year-old child. The decisions that they make, the bullet sponge, the one-shot, the backfill in that Call of Duty lobby since 1998. The backfill in the Call of Duty lobby since 1998. The bullshit toxicity in the Call of Duty lobby since 1998. The you know, piece of shit developers, man. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what they are. Most of them are. Like, I used to really, really respect them and look up to them. Like, they were revere them as gods. But the more I watch them bungle shit, I'm like, no. Look at the bullet sponge ruin modern gaming. Nothing is a bullet sponge. Terminator is a bullet sponge. If you need bullet sponge in your fucking games so much, go make Terminator games, piece of shit developers.
Parking spot, one which could accommodate his size by providing ample room for him to...
You want to know why Tarkov was so popular? You want to know why they still pay $300 for Tarkov? It's because they don't have Bullet Sponge. They just don't. Bullet Sponge is not in Tarkov. Is why the game will exist probably longer than Call of Duty. It just doesn't have Bullet Sponge. And I gotta say, you know, no matter what Tarkov does to their piece of shit game, it'll still always be a successful game because the Bullet Sponge just plain isn't there. You want to know what's truly great about Tarkov? No Bullet Sponge. It's why all those fanboys and all those Call of Duty boys and all those Fortnite boys flock to it like it was like the biggest thing since sliced bread. Because we all know what's wrong with modern goddamn gaming. The Bullet Sponge plagues every single piece of shit game and every single fucking genre. It's almost like racism. It's just fucking completely rampant no matter where the fuck you go. You know, every game that I play, Bullet Sponge. It's disgusting. Melee hits, yeah. Maybe in a boxing match, you get a good 30 or 40 hits. But I mean, most times, if somebody's punching you, you got about 2 to 5 hits. If you're lucky. I don't know what your fucking thing is about damage. What your idiocy is around damage and stuff. But you're killing the industry, and I will fucking yell about it every fucking day for the next 70 years until you fucking fix it, asshole. Fix it. Fuck your Bullet Sponge. You're a fucking asshole. You're not a good developer. You're an asshole. All of you. Face Punch, Blizzard, Squaresoft, fucking, you know, Call of Duty, Activision. Doesn't matter who it is. Valve. It doesn't matter. No, Valve isn't guilty of this. No. Or who does CSGO? Yeah, CSGO is not guilty of this, which is why you keep wondering how CSGO stays at the top of this goddamn Steam and game player statistics. Year after year after year after year, Counter-Strike just sits here at the top. You want to know why? No Bullet Sponge. Never had Bullet Sponge. Not once, not ever. Could you ever say that Counter-Strike had Bullet Sponge? Nope. So it just dominates and continues to dominate and will always dominate your piece of shit, worthless ass fucking developer asses. And I hope it does. Understand what's wrong with your fucking industry, piece of shit developers. It's Bullet Sponge, and any game that doesn't have it does just fine. See it? Apex doesn't have it. I mean, once human will die when people understand that it's there. It's there. Once human is dying, it was up there above almost Counter-Strike, but it'll die because it is Bullet Sponge. Elden Ring will die. It has this. They have their nice heydays where they act like they're successful. Hello, Boom. Oh, I don't need anything from you, buddy. It's okay. I don't need anything. But thank you. Friendship is enough. I don't like taking gifts, as it makes me feel... Oh, yes. Thank you. Oops. Bullets. This was... I did die outside my base, I forgot about it. Ah, yes, the scarecrow. Thank you so much. Have forgotten. Okay, so here we go.
In his door.
Yeah, so you know, I'll tell you all, like, none of the 10 games can successfully do. Grand Theft Auto doesn't do it. Rust doesn't really do. In PvP Rust, you do not have Bullet Sponge. No, not at all. You got maybe 3 to 10 if you're lucky. Bullet Sponge, this is why Rust will always do okay. It just doesn't have Bullet Sponge. This has Bullet Sponge, it'll die. Bullet Sponge, it'll die. Bullet Sponge, it'll die. This does not, so it'll live. This has Bullet Sponge, so it'll die. This does not, so it'll live. This does, so it'll die. Anything with Bullet Sponge will die. It's actually literally what is plaguing the goddamn industry. And like, I don't understand how the developers don't know it. They're just stupid, I guess. They don't play their own games. It's not that they're stupid, they're ignorant. They're not stupid, their ignorance really alarms me. They're just ignorant of it. They're ignorant that the Bullet Sponge is killing the industry. They have no clue. It's not even on their radar, you know? And to me, that is like a negligent level of just complete and utter obliviousness that is literally like $1 trillion expensive. It's like they're building faulty bridges. They're not really calculating the cost of what it'll be to dredge the cars out of the river or something. It's kind of like that. They're building faulty bridges, and they're not really thinking about what it's going to cost when the Bullet Sponge kills the entire industry, you know? And the kids will not do Bullet Sponge. They just won't. They, like, most of the time, they won't.
I'm sorry, Aunt. £425.
This is why WoW rating died, because nobody wants to stand around and hack on a health bar for 20 minutes anymore. Nobody wants to do that. What are we, idiots? What does that prove? You know? Maybe doing the mechanics proves something, but I think a good, like, 7-minute fight that's really fucking hits hard but doesn't, you know, drag out, you know, your Bullet Sponge even in Blizzard titles is worthless. Fallout and anything Bethesda touches is completely poisoned. I can't stand it. Their difficulty's not good enough, and their solution to difficulty is Bullet Sponge. Bullet Sponge is the toxicity poison that's killing the industry. Their solution to everything is Bullet Sponge. It's disgusting. Fuck them. You know, I want to do some videos about it, but I don't want to be this alarmist dude that pulls like 1 million hits off of trying to scare people about something. That's not my vibe. I just want to rage about it every single time I fucking see it until some developer gets a clue and starts talking to some other developer at a conference, and they begin to understand what's actually killing their fucking industry and why I hate the AAA so much. It's Bullet Sponge, one shot, and backfills. You do not respect us. You know, you do not respect us. We give you billions of dollars, and you do not respect us. You give us Bullet Sponge and bullshit in return. You know,
you must be.
That is not respect. That is like we give you the mansion in the hills, and we live in the middle and the lower class, and you just get to Bullet Sponge everything. Come on, man. You can tell that any game that's successful doesn't have Bullet Sponge. It's clear as hell. As clear as the sun will rise tomorrow. Bullet Sponge is a good way to kill your fucking game, and they all do it. They all do it.
So you'll get the blue badge, and you can park where in the disabled spots, right? When signing up for classes, Jared did not select courses based on his degree program, but instead based on which classrooms had chairs that he could fit into. One day, Jared's roommate, a pre-med student, noticed that his ankles were dangerously swollen and suggested that it could be edema, a condition that Google tells me is, quote, swelling caused by too much fluid trapped in the body's tissues. This condition is dangerous and can often lead to heart problems or even early death. Among his many other health issues, Jared also suffered a car accident around this time, falling asleep at the wheel due to catastrophically low energy caused by sleep apnea. All of this is to say that Jared was in a real mess. His father had encouraged him to lose weight for years. Every time he tried, though, he failed. Now he was being told that he might not live past 35, and the only way to save himself was to lose the excess weight, and lose it fast. But how was a man expected to lose so much weight so rapidly? Poor dejected Jared flung himself into bed and began sobbing hopelessly. He realized then and there that all was lost. However, it was at that exact moment, his lowest moment, that the green and yellow lights of the subway sign across the street switched on for the evening and cast a luminous glow across his watery face like rays.
Oh my god.
He opened his eyes, jumped to his feet, threw open the window, and took in the sweet aroma of Subway's always fresh ingredients. He then levitated like
always
a
fresh.
Drawn to
Smells
a
like
freshly
farts.
baked pie out of his window toward the sub shop that would single-handedly turn his miserable existence into one of purpose. Subway would save this man's life, and he would repay them by acting as their
With
mascot and
pederasty.
encourage others to follow in his godlike footsteps.
And he would repay them with pederasty.
At least that's how the marketing team at Subway tried to sell it to the public. Yeah, this did feel, I mean, he was floating like a cartoon
Just say
towards a pie.
That's what he
it's
did.
like the story starts by, it's like he's grossly overweight, and he sees Subway, and he's like, let's go to Subway! It doesn't sound like the beginning of a weight loss journey, does it? It sounds like a trip to Subway for not the healthy sub, but like a foot-long Mariana meatballs or whatever they are called. I'm not a big fan of Subway. It's like, what was that other thing? Someone once told me, and I'll ruin them for you right now. Crunchy nut cornflakes. Is that an American thing as well, or just a British thing? It's like cornflakes. That must be a global thing. They're covered in like honey and little nuts, and I used to love these things. I loved them. And then I read it was literally some like offhand remark in the paper or something, and like. And the journalist was like, you know, when you finally realise that crunchy nut cornflakes kind of taste a little bit like cardboard. And I'm like, what? Wait, what?
You know that moment when you realize that Kellogg's, but I mean, it does kind of taste like cardboard a little bit. You know that moment? I do. I know that moment. Yeah, I do. It's okay if it's soggy cardboard. Soggy cardboard can taste good. You know?
And then the next morning I have my crunchy nut cornflakes, and I'm like, oh my god, he's right. They kind of taste a bit like cardboard.
Yep.
Gotta taste better than a junkie. Well, I don't know.
And I've never been able to enjoy them since, because they taste a bit like cardboard. And once someone told me, like, doesn't Subway just taste a bit fake and everything tastes the same?
It tastes
no
the
matter,
same.
like, you put onion.
It doesn't matter what you put on it. It always tastes like the same sort of generic sandwich. And I'm like, it does. And they're always, and it's weird because their whole industry is like, we've got the tasty new chicken bacon ranch, you know, this or that. We've got this and that now, and oh, now we got cookies, and now we've got, you know, this and that, and you know, and you can put bacon on your guacamole or whatever, and all the shit, right? And like, but when you eat the food, it doesn't even taste like food that. Like it comes from the grocery store, because I know what it is. It's because they put all that, they freeze the food, they ship it across the country, they put it in the walk-in freezer, it sits in the freezer for like, you know, 6 to 12 hours before it's used, and then you know, and then it's out there on the line all day in the air. And it has been a long time since that vegetable has seen the soil. It has been at least 3 weeks, and it has definitely been frozen at least twice, and that is why the food and the frozen food always tastes like this, right? Frozen food kills all of the nutrients, and it doesn't kill all of it. It doesn't kill the nutrients, but it like definitely reduces whatever makes food taste like food. I don't know what that is. It's like, you know, it's like, I guess it's moisture. Something about the moisture in food is what makes it taste so good. But freezing things like sucks all the moisture out of it, I believe. So, And then so when you freeze like, you know, chicken, and you freeze lettuce, and you freeze like bread, or not bread, you don't freeze the bread, you bake the bread, but all the rest of it, the cheese and all that stuff gets frozen, and freezing stuff just kills the taste of it completely. And it's weird because it didn't really used to taste like that in the 80s for some reason. But it has since like the 90s. It tastes like cardboard, most fast food, because it's been, you know, frozen for 3 weeks, you know?
You put olives, you put whatever.
It's something about freezing something. I don't know what it is. They do a really good job at making the food look really good. But when you bite it, you're like, oh, this just sort of tastes plain to me, you know? You can add something sharp to it, and often Americans do. We put, like, Cholula is so popular. Cholula blew up here. Cholula, Tabasco sauce. Like, and honestly, they should have that for free at every single fucking fast food place. Like, the only reason I used to go to Chipotle was because we would steal a bottle of green Tabasco, and we didn't feel that the Chipotle would call the cops on us, you know? Like, we would go over and we would just, like, blatantly toss a bottle of Tabasco sauce, which is like $4 or something like that, into our bag as we were leaving, because we would dump like a quarter bottle of Tabasco sauce on Chipotle burritos, which is so good. A Chipotle burrito with heavy guacamole and tons of green Tabasco sauce, right? Mouth just gets watering thinking about it, and I've been eating that since I was like 19 years old or something like that. But still though, what I think about is the green Tabasco. I think about the Cholula. When I go to Subway, I think about if I'm gonna order, and I haven't been to Subway in 5 or 6, 7 years, something. I had a Subway, I think, when I traveled. I think I did have what did I have? I don't remember. I think I had a steak and cheddar. Yeah, I did. I had a steak and cheddar, and I didn't like their bread. It tasted very plain. The steak tasted like steak. I had no issue with the steak. The cheddar wasn't sharp enough because it had been frozen, and it just wasn't good, sharp cheddar that you would buy from, like, the grocery store. It was crappy, like, Americanized cheese cheddar. It wasn't really real. It was good cheddar, but it wasn't, like, even almost like grocery store quality cheddar. It was more mass-produced restaurant cheddar. And when you have plain meat, I didn't have steak, I had roast beef. I remember what I had. I had a roast beef cheddar sandwich, and I remember that I didn't get anything but mayo on it, and usually that would be a really fucking good sandwich, a roast beef sandwich with, mayo and cheddar, sharp cheddar, but the cheddar wasn't sharp enough. The roast beef just tastes like roast beef, which it almost isn't good enough. It tastes like roast beef, but it tastes like restaurant grade roast beef that doesn't taste interesting, like it was given a treatment, or like it was like, or it's fresh from the deli or something like that. It was more like restaurant meat, and restaurant meat's not that good. And so then, like, and I remember when I got the sandwich. I think it was like in the airport. I think I got a Subway sandwich at the airport, and like, the only part of the meal that I enjoyed was the sun chips, because the sun chips are the only thing that tastes like anything. The roast, and I've had really struggled with fast food lately. I've been trying to buy it, and honestly, the only thing on the market that tastes good to me is the cheesy bean and rice burrito. That's it. The only thing on the market. And I've ordered lately, like, a couple of new things Wendy's did, and I tried a couple of new things that I haven't been to McDonald's in, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, but I do Wendy's and Taco Bell, and I've tried, like, several things from both restaurants, and, like, the food tastes plain to me, and I immediately think, oh my god, this burger would be so good with some blue cheese. Or, oh my god, this burger would be so good with some Tabasco, and that's what I think when but it's a good burger. It's a good Wendy's number 3 or 5 or whatever it is. It's a good burger. But old Wendy's used to taste so good to me, really juicy and really fresh, and used to taste so good. But something that they're doing to the food, and I don't know what it is, it tastes so plain, like, and I know because grocery store food tastes really good to me. Even canned food does. But that restaurant food that they've frozen for like 3 weeks and then trot out without the right seasoning, it needs, they constantly, like, I think I know for a fact that out here on the West Coast, we have what's it called? I do like Jack in the Box, even though they're kind of gross. And I used to really love Jack in the Box, but they've seriously declined. And when I go to Jack in the Box, I see that their biggest burger that they've had for 10 years is the Buttery Jack. And they were smart to do that because I think it's actually garlic butter too, and like the garlic butter Jack is their main burger because it probably really tastes like a garlic butter burger, you know. And none of those other burgers, those other burger joints, taste like a burger. Really, they're like plain, kind of like the Subway sandwich. Something about modern fast food has lost its shebang, you know.
It always kind of tastes the same. Yeah. And so now I just get sandwiches from better shops because there are better sandwiches out there. In reality, Jared
whatever shebang is.
To eat less, and more importantly,
do you guys know shebang?
He replaced
it's like that horsey. I was thinking earlier what would be really good on this stuff, and I was thinking, oh my god, you know what would be really good is like horseradish sauce on these burgers, you know, because the burgers are so plain that they're good burgers that I believe they're worth the $12 when I pay the $12 for them or whatever, right? But like it needs a kick that they're not giving us, something about these burgers and these Subway sandwiches. And so when I go into a Subway, I find myself having this existential thing where I know I'm going to dump like either Cholula or green Tabasco or too much mayo or something with like horseradish kick or something on the sandwich to make it acceptable. Otherwise, it's just going to be another sandwich that I could have made at home, you know? And that's weird because it didn't used to feel that way. Even when I worked at Subway, like, I don't know, I think that was in 2017. No, yeah, it was like 2017, I think it was. It was longer than that. It was like 2015, I think, when I worked at Subway. I was a sandwich artisan in Roxborough, Colorado. And I learned the job, and I kept the job for, I think, like 9 months or something like that. It was a good job. But then I moved. And the restaurant made good sandwiches if you could kick up the sandwich. Like if you, like for instance, what the kids did is they would use the shredded cheese, and they would make grilled cheese Subway sandwiches. All of them. They would do melts, only melts. And for some reason, melted cheese still has that kick. No matter what you do, melted cheese always tastes good enough where it feels like it has a kick. You know, melted cheese, like quesadillas that are actually good, really have a good kick. You know, they do. Like melted cheese has always had a kick. So the kids make melts when they do sandwiches. They don't do the BMT or the classic sub or anything like that with mayo, like you would think that kids that work at a Subway shop would do. They make these fancy culinary things with like onions and green peppers and melted cheese, maybe some egg in the morning or that kind of thing. And I watched what the kids who worked at Subway made, because I was there for like 9 months. And I did work there every day for like 9 months. I worked 7-day weeks almost the whole time. And I was there and I watched what they did and I watched what they made. And at no point did their sandwiches not have that kick. I used to ask them to make me a sandwich because I'd be like, dude, I don't know how to make Subway sandwiches taste good. And they would laugh about that because they don't. And I'd be like, show me how. And they would make like basically something like melted cheese or some kind of horseradish or some kind of spicy sauce or something like that just gives it the kick, just enough of a kick. You don't have to use a lot of it, but enough of the kick that the sandwich stands out. And this is something the Subway and McDonald's and all them are not willing to do to their own food. They don't want to add stuff to it. And so this is why the Big Mac still sells so much, because of that weird Thousand Island dressing that they use on it. It has that kick that slings Big Macs, whether the Big Macs are good or not. Right? And their interesting choice was, I think, to put some kind of variation of Thousand Island dressing on their Big Mac, right? And it gives it this really tangy kick that I associate with my childhood. And I miss the Big Mac because something they're doing, it just doesn't have that kick. Even the Thousand Island dressing that they're using doesn't have that kick that kicks you in the mouth, and you're like, oh my god, this burger is so tart and so good. It doesn't matter how crappy the meat or the bun is, or how squished and as shitty the presentation is. It used to be, didn't matter how low quality the Big Mac was, that kick of Thousand Island in your mouth while you were eating the burger made it worth it, you know? That special sauce that they had, it's that special sauce. Something about it now, their food is so plain because they have to freeze and move it so much. They have to put a kick in every single burger. And I believe it or not, I believe Jack in the Box was able to stay alive by putting butter, like garlic butter, on their burger, you know?
1,000-calorie diet with 2 Subway sandwiches, 1 small turkey at lunch, 1 large veggie at dinner.
That is not enough food for a human to, like, survive, I don't believe. Have you eaten their, like, little, like, fucking, their crappy little 6-inchers? That would be okay for a child age 1 to, like, 10. But an adult cannot live off of 2 6-inch subs a day. I don't believe. That's actually not enough carbs for a healthy human being. It's not enough balance, and it's not enough veggies or protein or anything like that. It's most of that meat, most of that food is the bread. And that bread is not good. That bread kills you. That bread is full gluten, and if you do enough gluten all of your life, you will develop an allergy to it, like I did, and you'll get sick from eating it. I used to pretty much eat bread. Bread is like what I ate as a person in the lower class. I would eat breaded chicken, I would eat sandwich. I would go and buy crappy Wonder Bread and like salami or bologna and mayo, and I would eat like crappy, Doritos chips with like bologna sandwiches and like ramen for dinner, and that's enough food to survive, but it will make you sick and cause you to have a gluten allergy because it's all gluten. It's all basically wheat. You're all eating some form of wheat in almost all of it. Ramen is basically wheat with some like beef sauce, Sandwiches are, unless it's the meat or the cheese, is essentially bread. And so I lived off of bread for 20 years until I had a doctor like literally sit me down and lecture me and tell me that I had eaten so much American bread that I had become allergic to it. And then they showed me the charts and they had me do the YouTube and they were like, go and do the background if you don't believe us, but you have developed the celiac disease, which is literally an intolerance to gluten because you ate so much American bread all of your life that you became fat, and you are stuffed full of breads that were pasteurized or not pasteurized, but processed and used with preservatives in mind so that Americans can ship stuff all over this huge country. And that killed us. That killed America. That it literally, besides the financial crisis, the other thing that killed us was the poor quality and the preservatives that we use in American bread. And so now what was I going to say? That's it. That's it. And it's weird. And that's Jared's problem. But Jared was not fat. Jared pounded bread for all 17 years of his life until he took semaglutides, which is what they're using now. They had semaglutides back there in the year 2000. They just only gave it to people with diabetes. Jared had diabetes. So when they gave him the semaglutides back in like 2005, that crisis, or not crisis, but not the crisis, but that gold rush of Ozempic hadn't hit yet, and so they were giving it to people like Jared who were rich, right? Who had what's it called? Diabetes, and the diabetes, right? And the reason that he has diabetes is not because he's fat; it's because he pounded processed bread all of his life, just like me. And I mean, all of America did this. When food was cheap, it was because it was wheat bread seasoned up like pizza, right? Pizza is just bread with cheese on it. I ate a lot of pizza throughout my life, a lot of it. America's inundated with pizza. On almost every block, there's a Pizza Hut, On almost every block, there's some pizza joint of some accord. Americans live off of bread, and you can't live off of bread. It's weird. South Park talked about this, and they were right. Like, the food pyramid used to be... at the bottom was, it's weird because the pyramid is correct. You need to start with bread, meat, and then move up to like fruit. Bread, dairy, and then meat, like the food pyramid thing. But then South Park talked about it. They were like, they got it wrong in the respect that the pyramid's upside down. You can only have a little pyramid's tiny. I'll have to use like a visual aid for what I'm trying to talk about with like food and what Jared's thing was about is like, let me pull paint. I thought I had it on my bar, but I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see paint. I want you to pin to taskbar. I'm going to pull paint. I'm going to get inside because I'm going to start mining now. Yep, and we will aim at the terminus, align, and we'll start making passive money now. I love EvE Online. Got to get that blue arrow to sync up, and you are aligned. Blue arrow is synced, and now we make passive money. And now we make passive money, and now we go inside the base because I have stuff, and what was I going to say? So yeah, the food pyramid, right? So the food pyramid, what it used to be, and I got to go make sure that I'm saying this correctly, but the food pyramid used to look like this. Food pyramid 90s, right? They talked about this food pyramid in the 90s, and it looks like this, right? And America knows this image because it's in every like 5th grade classroom, it's in every 2nd grade classroom, it's all the schools and everything. This image is the food pyramid, right? Where they're like, begin with your breads and your cereals and your rices and pasta. Have 2 to 4 servings of something in the fruit and the vegetable group. You have a little bit less of milk, yogurt, and cheese, and meat, poultry, and fish. And then you have the least amount of fats, oils, and sweets, right? And it was actually more like this, which is you can only have this much bread. I'm going to say B for bread. I'm going to go outside the box here. I'm going outside the triangle, right? Bread, it's what the actual food pyramid, the accurate one is, and the scientists have admitted this. It is what I'm saying is true. Is actually bread, veggies, fruit, dairy. Oops, sorry. Dairy, D for dairy. It looks like a B. Damn it, I want to kind of white it out. I'll just white it out. Oh, I can't. Whatever. Come on, man. Oh my God, you're bad. Whatever. So D for dairy or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. D for dairy. M for meat. And F for fat, right? And this is the actual fucking food pyramid. You can only have a small amount of bread. Your main foundation is a little bit more of vegetables and fruit. You can have a little bit more of dairy and meat, like cheese and dairy and stuff and meat, right? And you can have a lot of fat, because that's actually how it works. It's kind of crazy. Fat's okay if you don't have carbs. Bread has carbs, right? What doesn't have carbs, and this is why this chart is so wrong. This condemned like 5 generations of children in America to being fat, because this is how the parents were instructed to feed their kids. It literally was. But no, it turns out you can have the tiniest amount of bread. You can have like a slice of bread if you want, but you should not be having like a whole half pizza. You should not be eating sandwiches twice a day. You should not be, you should not be eating bread as your if you eat bread as your main source of dietary intake because it's cheap, which is what poor people do. I know, because I'm one of them. Then you will become fat if you and this is what they told us to do. They were like, you should have a lot of bread with a little bit of veggies and a little bit of fruit and a little less meat and a little bit less dairy, and then a tiny bit of dessert of fats. But no, it's actually like, you start with a tiny bit of bread and a tiny bit of vegetables and fat and a little bit more of dairy and meat, and then you can have anything you want as long as you didn't overdo on these things. You can have anything you want. Like you can't have a lot of fat, right? This part of it is kind of wrong. Like the whole thing is wrong. You can't. The upside down triangle is kind of deceptive, but it's the best way to describe but it is sort of how it works though. You have to start with a small tiny bit of bread, a little bit more of vegetables and fruit, and definitely something substantial in the cheese, dairy, and meat. And then you can have fat. It doesn't matter. Usually that's the flavoring, right? And the problem is that they went heavy on the carbs and they went heavy on the fat, right? They went heavy on this. America has, like, for instance, fats, oils, and sweets. People don't think of soda as fats, oils, and sweets, but it is. It's pure sugar water. It's pure sugar water. It is literally the top of this pyramid, but we do this huge portion of it with every, with every fast food meal or whatever. We do like a medium, large, soda with everything that we do. If we get pizza, we get a 2 liter of soda, don't we? If we go to, if we have a pizza party, we get like 3 or 4 2 liters of soda usually. And so and remember, you're supposed to actually not do fats, oils, and sweets almost at all. They are correct. The scientists were correct when they said you got to keep the fats, oils, and sweets very small. You do, and it sucks that the upside down pyramid puts fat at the top of it. But honestly, you can eat as much fat if you want if you have balanced the bread, the vegetable fruit, and the dairy and the meats correctly. By the time you get to fat, which is usually like the flavoring, like the Thousand Island dressing, the mayonnaise, the ranch, the blue cheese, the soda, the sugar, the brownies, the cake, the pizza. I'm sorry, not the pizza, but the oily stuff on the pizza. The cheese has a lot of fat in it. The dairy and fat are right next door to each other. They're basically the same thing. Dairy and fat are like the same thing too. Do you see it? Like dairy and fat are basically the same thing. It's you can get fat from sugar, but it's actually much easier to do it from dairy. And it's real easy to do it from bread. Bread, if you overdo the bread, you start and notice how the pyramid kind of urges you to base your diet off of bread first. Do you see it? And this is because of American farmers and stuff. There is some corruption here. They wanted the farmers to make money. They wanted the breadbasket to do well. They still do. They want the meats to do well, which is how we got fucking stupid ass Mitt Romney talking about hot dog as his favorite meat. Like, this stuff cracks me up, and I talked to my friend Begon, and I was like, yeah, the meat council guys got to him too, because they did. Look at him, he's shilling for hot dog day, and this is because the meat industry needs him to. They need to be able to move chicken sphincters and dog sphincters and horse sphincters, or not horse sphincters, but like chicken and pig and cow sphincters and and ears and stuff like that. That's what hot dogs is. It's all the refuse meat that they can't serve as actual prime cuts. That's actually what hot dogs is. And so then we get Mitt Romney fucking shilling for the meat council, essentially. And that's how we got hot dog is my favorite meat. And he's saying this because he needs America to eat hot dogs, because America has a problem moving all of its refuse meat, right? So here's refuse meat. I'm going to say refuse M for refuse meat has a problem because a lot of it is unusable unless you grind it up into something like sausage or hot dogs. So America has a problem moving all of its cow, chicken, and pig anuses and ears and stuff, and that's how we got hot dogs. That's what it is, and he's got it emblazoned on his cap because he knows that if the meat council doesn't see that he's got a wiener on his hat, they won't give him his subsidy. That he won't give them their subsidy, and they won't give him their vote. Right? And it's all one big shill having to do with moving the bread basket and the meat basket, And it's kind of funny, but this is the actual pyramid, and it's a bad pyramid. You can't even tell what I'm saying here anymore because I'm super zoomed in or whatever. But I mean, and we'll start over again, and I'll show you this principle again because I'm dead serious. It's actually real, and this is what the science has reflected. Right? We're gonna do the pyramid upside down again because it fits the theme, but the triangle doesn't actually fit. It's more actually like a square. I'll just show you what the actual reality is, right? Like the actual reality is it's sort of like a square, right? the problem is, like, you start out with, like, you start out with veggies and fruit. You do a smaller portion of meat and dairy, and then you finally do the top of the pyramid, right? The pyramid is kind of accurate, but the top of the pyramid is S for well, I'm sorry, it's not S, it's F, right? The top of the pyramid is F, which is fat. Now, as long as you do a strong foundation at the bottom of the pyramid, which is what they used to show you was bread, it's actually the vegetable and fruit. If you do a big vegetable and fruit foundation in your diet, and you leave yourself a slice of bread at the top of the pyramid, up there with the fats and the oils, right? Up here is fats and oils and the breads, right? I'm going to put B and F are at the top, actually, right? So if you want to be a skinny, happy, sexually attractive person in America, you need to abandon this idea that bread is at the basis of every single meal. That's like pizza and burgers and sandwiches and ramen. And by bread, I'm not meaning bread. I actually mean wheat, and wheat is used to make pasta, ramen. Wheat's in everything. I know, because I'm gluten intolerant, and wheat's in fucking everything that we eat. So understand, like, and it's up here at the top is bread and fat in much smaller. It's more like right here. So I'll draw this box again and get it completely accurate. I'm sorry, I kind of mangled it here, but it's actually kind of, I mean, it is a triangle, and I'll do it accurately. This is how you stay, and this is how I've lost the weight too. It's not some secret. It's just how it actually works. It is a triangle. They were right about that. But at the top there's a split, right, between bread and fat. And we're gonna say these words so you understand what I mean here. F is FAT, and bread is bread. And bread and fat aren't bad. But you must only have a tiny amount of them with each meal. You cannot have a very big dessert. You cannot have much bread. You can't have a big old. You can't have, like, when you sit down at the seafood restaurant, they bring you like chips, right? Or they bring you breadsticks, right? And they do this because they know that you'll fill up on bread and not use up their expensive stuff like meat and seafood, right? And this is because bread and fat fill you up with empty carbs. This whole bracket is the carb bracket. The whole bracket is carbs. Carbs make you fat, right? Fat does not make you fat. That belly roll, fat does not make you fat. Does not make you fat. Fat does not make you fat unless you overdo it, right? If you pound ice cream like all day long, you'll get fat. But I mean, the faster way to do it, you want to get fat really fast, eat a lot of bread. Bread will make you so fat. Real carbs are what makes you fat. Carbs are the actual fat, right? And the fastest way to get carbs is from bread. And carbs are empty. Like carbs are like this, like wheat is kind of bad for you because the carbs are empty. They don't really do anything for your body except fill you up. Think of it as like water without the nutrients in it. Carbs are not really good for you, and bread is not really good for you. It's okay to eat it, and it fills you up so you don't starve to death, but it doesn't really make a healthy body. What makes a healthy body is a strong foundation in vegetables. Vegetables, and then fruit, which is why I've been eating so much grapes and bananas. I rotted 3 bananas this week, and I got through 5 of the 8 or 7, whatever it was. And then I've been eating oranges, and I've been drinking a lot of orange juice and stuff, and I try to eat a lot of vegetables. And my mother is very good about making meals out of the vegetables that she grows in her garden, so she makes me a lot of meals because she knows that it's very vegetable high, and she makes fruit medleys for desserts. And that is a good way to get your fat kind of innocent, is to make fruit desserts. You can kind of skip the problem part of the thing, kind of, by doing fats that are based in fruit, right? Fruit. And so you can kind of skip the sort of the bad part of the fats kind of by doing fruit fats, you know. And so that's the carb side of fats, which are like chocolate, you know, sugar. Anything sugar is carb side. That's breads, carbs, you know. It's hard to know all this stuff because it is actually kind of scientific, believe it or not. So then at the center is the meat, which is the hardest part of it because meat's expensive, it's kind of immoral, it's very hard to ship, it often goes bad, it'll make you sick, and you know, meat has its problems, but we need meat, you know, we definitely eat meat, right? And that's this one, but you should only have about as much meat as you do dairy, right? You should not have much meat and you should not have much dairy. That's like maybe a little bit of cheese sauce on the meat, right? Or maybe you have a sandwich, but it's half pepperoni and half cheddar, right? And maybe you have some vegetables in the form of some kale lettuce or something, and maybe you have apples and apple slices instead of Doritos, and you don't do any bread if you can help it. You try to do something carb-free bread, or maybe ideally you can make something out of vegetables like a lettuce wrap or something like that, or maybe a spinach wrap. Something more vegetable based as opposed to bread based, right? You want something vegetable based to be the vessel for your meat and your dairy. And then you should have very little bit. You need fat, you need it, so you should have some fat. You should have a dessert. You don't get fat from fruit, vegetables, meat, you do get fat and dairy, which is why fat and dairy are right next to each other, right? Fat and dairy are basically almost the same thing. They kind of are. But there is such thing as healthy dairy fat. Babies drink milk. That's healthy dairy fat. It will not kill them. It will not make them fat. Babies don't get fat unless you give them too much sugar and carbs, right? So, and it's weird because understand the scientists were so stupid in the 1950s, they convinced America for 50 years that bread, cereal, rice, and pasta should be the big base of the meal. Do you see it? This is wrong. Bread is actually one half of the top triangle. And if you want to stop being a fat American or a fat South African or a fat British or a fat, you know, Australian, fat white this or whatever, and not be so fat anymore, understand that the scientists fucked up and convinced the politicians that the bread basket is the basis of our diet. But no, it's actually the smallest, tiniest top of the pyramid. And by the way, this image is for sale for $1 million in the form of an NFT. It is an interesting image that has the skycat.live touch, you know. It is for sale. I don't expect anybody to buy it, but it is for sale. I imagine I'll probably eventually get a buyer if I keep doing this for 50 years and stuff. But this NFT is for sale. It is called the True Food Pyramid. It'll go in my personal, and it'll just sit there like the assassination drawing when Trump got shot at, right? And by the way, this image is for sale for $1 million of U.S. currency, and no checks or credit cards. Got to be cash money, $1 million. I'm dead serious. And you can buy this NFT, and I know it sounds crazy right now, but talk to me in 20 years. You can buy this NFT for cheap right now. Or talk to me in 20 years, you know? You think it's funny, but I don't. You know, I have to believe that I can be efficacious and reach a lot of people. So I execute my life accordingly. So, and this image that I just drew with the Skycat touch, you see it? There's the Skycat touch. Fat and dairy are right next door to each other. You got to understand. You should stay away from it. They're basically the same thing. So honestly, you always wonder why your friend's skinny and you're not. It's because they have a vegetable, fruit, meat diet, and they pretty much stay in this quadrant, this little like 3 square thing. They only ever do meats, veggies, and fruit. That's how they stayed skinny, right? If you mess with dairy or fat or bread, this whole thing, right? Yeah, and this NFT is for sale. There's the Skycat touch. We save it, and now it's an NFT, or it's not an NFT, but I'll convert it to an NFT if anybody wants to buy it. Fat does not make you fat, right? Right? Fat does not make you fat. It is okay to have ice cream. It is okay to have candy. Just only a tiny little bit once a day. That's it. You little tiny little taste, little maybe a little square of the chocolate bar, maybe not the whole thing. And that's all you can have, but you can have chocolate every day, no problem. You can have wine, you can have fatty foods, you can eat chips, it doesn't matter what it is if you only do a small amount of it every day, and that's how the actual fucking thing works. And so if you're smart, you build a basis in veggies and meat, and you indulge in fruit, and you have a tiny little square of cheesecake or a quarter of a chocolate bar once a day or something like that, or maybe a slushie or a little ice bar or something like that out of the freezer or something like that. You don't eat a whole fucking McFlurry. That's gonna make you fat. You have like 2 bites of a chocolate bar. That's okay. That's actually good for you. It's really good for babies. Babies need fat to grow. Children need a lot of fat to grow. They do. But the problem is the scientists and the politicians killed us and told us that bread needed to be the basis of it. That is not the case. Now, in their defense, they didn't know. And this is what the gluten, this is the gluten truth. The name of this piece is the True Food Pyramid, but the gluten truth is America thought that the bread basket should have been bread, meat, fat, right? But no. It is vegetables and fruit, meat and dairy, and the tiniest little triangle of fat and bread at the top. I'm talking half a slice of bread a day, a quarter of a chocolate bar, maybe a scoop of ice cream at the most. And you can eat sugar all every day, no problem. No problem. You can have your nice ice cream or whatever you think you need to get through. Your chocolate, whatever. Fat's good, but you cannot do much of it. That's the problem. It is at the top of the pyramid. You can only do this tiny little bit. I'm talking like 200 carbs, and that's maybe a bite of sugar or fat or ranch or blue cheese or melted pizza fat cheese or American crumbled cheese, or not crumbled, but American shredded cheese or any of that, right? It doesn't take much American shredded cheese before you're in the fat carb area of dairy. Dairy is a very fatty thing, dairy. And so, and dairy and fat are almost the same thing, but not really. And fat stands on the foundation of dairy, right? But not all fats are dairy. You can get sugar, chocolate. Chocolate is basically sugar. It's sugar. So the other form of fat is besides carbs is sugar and dairy, like melted cheese, oils, that kind of thing. So, and understand, meat is actually kind of a small part of the diet. You should only be having a couple of bites of meat a meal. Like maybe, and this is why they always only ever give you like 2 slices of bacon or whatever, or they never overdo meat because it's expensive. Meat is the most expensive part of this whole thing. Well, no, I guess specialty fat is the most expensive part. Specialty fats like chocolate can be way worse, but like meat is generally the most expensive part of this whole thing. And meat needs to be smaller. It is like your foundation should primarily be vegetables and fruit with maybe a couple of slices of meat. Right? But you can be generous with the meat. You can be. And if you're going to be indulgent and act like a fat person, where I suggest you do it is with the meat. I don't suggest you do it with the dairy. That leads to fat. I definitely do not suggest you ever have more than half a slice of bread a day or something like that. Like a full slice of bread a day, half a slice of bread a meal. And maybe, maybe the most, a slice and a half a day. If you're eating a full sandwich a day, you're headed for fat country, because you have now put bread at the bottom of your diet where vegetables and fruit need to be. And then that's the whole fat mystery, This is the fat mystery. Why am I so fat, right? It's because, why am I fat, right? Why am I fat? And then I figured it out, but it took a long time. Why am I fat? The answer is, You put bread where vegetables and fruit needed to be. And if you change your diet now, you will get out of the diabetes triangle. If you don't, you won't. And for instance, I got out of the diabetes triangle. You want to know why? Look at my feet, right? You can see evidence of diabetes, but I don't have diabetes. I don't shoot insulin. I've never shot insulin. I don't see the doctor more than 2-3 times a year. I'm a healthy person generally. If you ignore the marijuana smoke, or the marijuana vape, I'm generally like a pretty healthy person actually these days. And I don't really abuse that much liquor, although I do. I mean, it's like a halfway on that one. I'm getting there. But I'm doing better, and the main thing is understand they told all of us. It wasn't just us. It wasn't just us. It was Britain. It was like South Africa, Australia. All of Western culture adopted this idea that the civilization's breadbasket foundation is bread, right? Bread. But no. Bread was not the foundation of our diet, and it killed us. It made us so fat and unhappy. You want to know why you're a fat nerd on the internet who stalks people and is angry and really pissed off at everything all the time, right? You want to know why that is? Is because you have a bread foundation for a diet. If you just go down to the store and buy salad or, potatoes and greens, collard greens, and some steak meat, and throw it in a stew pot, and eat half a slice of bread with it, with a like a scoop of like a couple of bites of ice cream, you will get skinny, believe it or not. And that sounds like a really big, really generous meal, because it is. But honestly, as long as you don't put too much bread into the equation, you will not get fat. Our bodies don't work like that. Carbs make you fat. Fat does not make you fat. That's the other thing. Fat does not really make you fat. Fat does not make you fat. I know it sounds really crazy when I say that, and it can make you fat if you overdo it. Like if you pound ice cream, like if somebody wants to play a fat person in a movie, they have them bulk up with ice cream, right? Because ice cream is like the most pure fat that you can get. And they have them eat milkshakes with like malt milkshakes. That'll make you fat. Right? So you can get fat from sugar, but it's actually pretty hard. You've got to pound ice cream all day. It actually is kind of hard. It's hard to eat sugar all day. It's gross. It's hard to eat too much candy. It's like, maybe some people are used to it, but like it's you actually kind of have to get used to eating too much sugar. It's actually kind of hard. So yeah, too much sugar will make you fat, but I mean, fat does not really make you fat, Like cheese doesn't really make you fat. Your body does cycle it and use the nutrients in it and move it on and into shit, So, and that's it. I delivered it. And so this is what the problem was with Jared. Now, why am I... Oh, I'm full. Oops, no, can't compress, but I can jettison. So Jared pushed the breadbasket triangle idea that a Subway sandwich, which is mostly bread, 1 to 3 times a day and you will stay skinny. But no, what it really was is they immediately cut bread out of his diet, and they put him on semi-glutides. That's exactly what I did to drop 100 pounds. I went on semi-glutides, and I exercised maybe once or twice a week, 2-3 times if I'm lucky. And I cut the bread out of my diet entirely. I'm talking like, I eat bread, but it is keto, gluten-free bread, which is, I don't even know how they make that. It's probably like soybean or something. I don't know what they do, but it is not wheat. If you eat too much wheat, which is any bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, which is what most Americans live off of, bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, I guarantee it, right? Like, and I made my point here. I think I got it across. And that's the problem. Subway pitched bread culture to the kids on the commercials. And it did make them fat. They've been pounding Subways for 20 years, and just like McDonald's, and that made them fat. And honestly, the McDonald's burger and the fries will not make you fat. It's the fucking bun. The bun is what made you fat. If you cut out the bun, you're golden. And I don't like this any more than you. I don't like saying this, you know? I don't like that it's like this. I don't like that they misled us. I don't like that it's true. I frankly don't like that it's true. I would prefer to be able to be a poor person who could live off of bread and cheese, right? I really would be. But I had to learn that bread will fucking kill you. Especially American bread. American bread will fucking kill you. The preservatives in it are worse than soda, maybe. They will literally kill you. They will make you gluten intolerant to the point where you're so fat, sick, and disgusting that you will die. It's, you know, and I mean, that's the truth. And they told us, you got to start with all of the bread. You got to make a big old 6-inch or 12-inch sandwich. But no, the actual truth is a 12-inch foot-long sandwich is a week's assortment of bread. It is a week's allotment. I'm dead serious about this. The foot-long sandwich at Subway, that is a week's allotment of bread for an adult. It's like a month's allotment of bread for a kid. Like the kind of bread that you can actually get away with eating before you become obese, right? And this is why all of our kids are fat. All of our foods are based out of bread because they know it and they don't care. And they like us fat. They know that we're going to keep buying food and that means more money. They like us fat. That's the true secret. They actually, I mean, if there's any secret here, the food pyramid thing was not a secret. We all know this now. The scientists are willing to agree. We know this is true. You cannot put bread at the bottom of the foundation in the largest portion. It's actually the smallest portion. You cannot eat a lot of bread and not expect to stay very, very skinny. You know, Italians don't eat a lot of bread. They're famous for pizza, but they do eat bread. But they have bread with every meal, and their bread is low carb, and it's usually, you know, it's usually very, very well made and very well baked. And Italians, you don't see a lot of fat Italians because there's no carbs in their diet. The pasta is made with low carbs. Their pasta is low carbs, you know. And this is why they talk about the Italian no carb diet, you know. I could go to YouTube and type it in. Right? And I don't care about diet or getting like skinny or any of this shit. I just know that I need to be around for another 70 years so I can finish this fucking YouTube stream, you know? So I'm trying to get back in a healthy shape so I can just churn on for another 50 years and finally do a life's career, you know? But instead I was sick off of their bread for 30 years, 40 years. It was like 40 years of it I did it. I pounded their bread, I pounded tobacco, I pounded liquor, I pounded drugs, and it made me completely sick, you know? And yeah, and notice that the Italian diet has zero bread at all. They do some bread with their meal, but it's like a hunk, right? They tear like a hunk of bread, like just enough to you know, just enough. See, and they're actually into more interesting things like this, right? Keto Italian sub roll-ups, right? Look at this. Like, this is a sub roll-up that's just mayonnaise and meat. Look, it's disgusting with maybe some like lettuce and stuff. But trust me, this Italian keto, like this is the same sandwich that you're making, right? Without the bread. But trust me, this is the true Subway. You can eat as many as many of these roll-ups as you want until you are full, right? 4 of them, it doesn't matter. You can eat 3 or 4 of these. You will not get fat. There are no carbs here and barely any fat. The mayonnaise is sparing. You see it? There is almost no fat here. There is almost no carbs. You can eat 4 or 5 of these if you want until your fat ass is totally satisfied, right? And you can't get fat doing it. Because you can if you eat like 5 of them and they all have mayo slathered on them, and you end up eating like 1,500 carbs worth of mayo, you'll get fat eating 5 of these a day. But honestly, really what kills us and made us fat was the bread. And it was such a mindfuck for me that I'm still sort of working it through my head. I still have to like sort bread out of my diet when I naturally fall to it, you know? Now, who's this? This is, oh, you got so close. Oh, I got a heart. You got so close. Love these, the concrete, probably quite safe. Yep. So, yeah. And while it looks disgusting, because it's like mayonnaise and meat, that is actually an extremely healthy meal, believe it or not. That is it looks like something that a fat ass would eat, right? Fucking mayonnaise and meat, you know? But no, there's no carbs and almost no fat in this, and you can eat to your heart's desire. And that's the other secret about the upside down food pyramid, right? Is you can eat as much as you want. You can eat like a fat ass. You can eat like that dude in the Greek myths with the grapes and stuff. You can eat grapes all day if you want. You won't get fat. It's the bread. You cannot eat bread all day. You will get absolutely very fat very fast. Carbs are empty fat. They just basically sit there in your stomach and don't go anywhere for a long time. You have to exercise to get rid of it. That's the other thing. You have to exercise. You have to exercise. It's like a law. You have to exercise. I didn't like that one either. I fought that one all of my life. I was like, nope, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not exercising. I just plain refuse. I'll stay healthy somehow. And I genuinely did most of it. But by the end, when I had to get my health back in order around like the age of 38, I began to understand that you cannot get rid of carbs without exercise, and that's the other part of the food pyramid that the scientists and the politicians failed us with, is they didn't stress how important exercise is. You cannot get rid of the empty carbs that bread puts in your body unless you exercise more than you're eating. So on top of it, if you're eating bread, it just stays in your body. It doesn't go anywhere. You don't shit it out. It just stays in your body. What did you think all that fat was? Bread just stays in your... I mean, what I'm saying is false, but it's like close to the truth, right? It's like the bread doesn't really leave your body. You have to exercise to get that to happen. If you sit in front of a computer all of your life like I did, and you pounded bread like I did, you will get extremely fat and you will not be able to lose it. It doesn't matter what you do. You will not be able to lose that fat because you pounded bread for 30 years. Until you stop pounding the bread and 5 or 10 years pass, right? You can't lose the weight. And for me, it was faster. It was like 4 years, right? I stopped keto, or no, it was 3 years. I stopped when I moved here. That was 3 years ago, I believe. Yeah, in 2020, was it 2, I think? Or no, it's been 2.5 years when I switched my diet, and I realized that bread was going to kill me because the doctor told me, he was like, if you eat bread every day, you'll be dead in 2 years. He was like, you have to stop eating bread. You are allergic to it. It is making your body kick up bile into your gullet when you're sleeping. It's the amount of gluten in your body is making you sick. You must get it out of you. And I was like, really? And he was like, yep, you're not going to believe me, but you have to trust me and try it. You have to stop eating fucking carbs. And I was like, okay. And he was like, doctor's orders. You have to stop eating carbs. You have to change every element of your diet completely so there's not a single carb in it. And sure enough, the fucking fat melted off. And you know, they didn't even put me on... I had to lose 100 pounds before they would give me Monjaro, right? Because I had to lose 100 pounds to do that. They won't just give it. Another myth is that they'll just hand you some needle that'll make you skinny. No. You have to show them that you're trying to get skinny by coming in there every 1 to 3 months or something for like a year. And every time you're like, 10 or 15 pounds lighter, that before they'll even give you the needle, right? You have to show them that you're actually trying, or they'll be like, no, this $3,000 drug, I can't give it to you. You have not lost a single pound, right? That's the other thing. And so once they saw that I was like that I did kick the carbs out, they were measuring, and they were like, yeah, you're getting carbs from somewhere, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And it turned out that Colorado native beer that I love so much was actually killing me. The Voodoo Ranger, I still drink it when I want to be bad, but I mean, Voodoo Ranger is incredibly bad for me. It'll kill me. It's poison water for me. It'll definitely cause me to break out in hives and like and sweat and be depressed and angry and all this stuff. And it's just crazy. And so the minute that I cut the bread out of my diet and I went keto, non-gluten, which sounds crazy, but I mean, you don't need to stay keto non-gluten forever. You just need to do it while you're fat, right? And then when you're back down to like 200 pounds or whatever, or like 150 pounds, you can eat whatever you want as long as you exercise 2 or 3 times a week. It doesn't matter. Almost in any portion except for bread, you still can't eat a pizza. Pizza is poison. And yes, I mean this when I say it. Pizza is full-blown poison. You can eat it just fine once a month. Totally. No issues. All your life you can eat pizza once a month. No problem. You pound the whole pizza even, maybe. It doesn't matter. But you cannot have pizza every single day. You cannot have sandwiches or ramen every single day. You cannot have carbs every single fucking day. And I have to say it over and over again. I have to like tell myself this. I have to like convince myself that it's true. because I honestly don't believe it. Basically, I'm like, I still really love bread, and I still really love, like I really love bread. I don't want to let it go. I love bread. I love sandwiches. I don't want to let it go. But I learned that I don't need to let it go. I just can't eat it every day. I can eat pizza just fine. I can eat pasta just fine. I can do it whenever I want. The problem is I can't do it every day. And that's the difference. And so then you'd be surprised how often I can still lose 100 pounds but eat cheesecake. I'll eat like melted cheese on pepperoni, and shit like that. Or I'll, whatever, just fatty meat and fatty cheese and stuff. It doesn't matter what it is or how much you eat of it. It doesn't matter if you eat like a half container of, like for instance, I like this Greek yogurt, right? The strawberry Greek yogurt. I had a container, but I think I threw it away. And I love that Greek yogurt. I'm a fucking addict. It's like the best shit I've ever fucking had. I love that Greek yogurt. I'm a fucking addict of it. And it's fatty and it'll make you fat. It's a dairy fat that's right next door to sugar fat, and it'll make you fat, right? But the difference is I can pound as much of that stuff as I want when I want, as long as it's not every day. Because once you cut the carbs completely out of your diet, right? Now why aren't you opening the cargo? It just doesn't make sense. You're stupid. Yeah, and that's the secret. There's two secrets in this life that I didn't know, which is that carbs are this thing that you can only sparingly have, like sugar, right? Or you just get fat pretty much immediately. And this is why pizza in America was such a terrible problem, and Big Macs. And honestly, it's not the melted cheese or the pepperoni or anything. It's the bread that the cheese is on. If we could make a pizza that wasn't based off of wheat, we could eat pizza for, just like Jared said, you could eat Subway sandwiches every day. And see, if you could make a pizza, like a keto pizza, or not a keto pizza, but a gluten-free pizza, right? If you could make a gluten-free pizza, you could eat pizza 3 square meals a day, a whole pizza each time, and you won't get fat because you did not carbo load your body, right? This is true, and that's the lie that Subway and Jared Fogle told the world. They were like, you can eat, and it is true. You can live on Subway. It is true, actually. It's sad, but it's true. If you don't eat Subway that has bread. And that's the big lie that Subway needs to pay for now, which is why they're getting canceled and they're becoming unpopular. That's the big lie that they told. They backed the government lobbies and the meat council and the bread basket and all this, right? And they tried to move bread like a good American. And that's okay, but bread kills kids. Believe it or not. If they eat it every single day, sure enough, you'll have a fatty, angry Cartman. You know why Cartman's Cartman? It's not because of all the racism or all the problems or all that. It's his diet and his environment. And Cartman's Cartman because he pounded bread his entire life. Pizza, KFC, breaded chicken. It's the bread, and I know that nobody wants to believe it, but it is true. It's true as the sun's going to rise tomorrow. I didn't want it to be true. I deal with it, and I combat it every day. But it is true. It is absolutely true. It sucks. I hate it. So what would it be? It would be a gluten-free pizza, right? And so when you become gluten-free, you're like, to lose the 200 pounds that you've gained, that's extra. We're all like 150 to 200 pounds, right? Both men and women, or whatever you are. And in men or women, right? And the truth is, it's the bread that the cheese and the meat is on that makes you fat. You can eat cheese and meat all day if you want, as long as you can actually fit it in your stomach and you're not full. You can eat cheese and meat. You're gonna get like a little more like bulk, but you won't get fat because your body's gonna use the cheese and the meat. Your body cannot use the bread. And so we look at a gluten-free pizza, right? Look how much fucking actual work goes into this, which is why there was so much like health food craze in the last 10 years, all this wellness stuff, right? Look at how much bullshit goes into actually making a real pizza that won't kill you. Real pizza kills you. It's literally true. Now, it won't kill you unless you do it every day, but if you do it every day, it'll kill you, right? Not boring, gluten-free pizza that tastes like real pizza, right? Yep, and so it would be very annoying and difficult to produce a lot of these pizzas, but you could. Look at him, he's doing it, you know. And you could, and if you were a baker and you had an oven ready that was always on anyways, you could like live off of pizza. It's the fat person's dream, right? You can live off of real pizza. It's real pizza. Look at it. It's like real. It's a pizza. It's not a wheat pizza, but it's pizza. It's like the same thing as a pizza. There's literally no difference. It's the same sort of dough. It just doesn't have wheat in it. It's dough that'll rise in the oven. It just doesn't have wheat in it, right? And so, and that's the secret. That is the secret. You can eat pizza, just like Jared said. You could eat Subway sandwiches as long as you don't eat bread every single day. You're totally fine. And this is why Subway deserves to be dismantled. Essentially, is they pushed bread with the Jared Fogle Subway program in a way that made an entire generation fat. And so, yeah, and I mean, this is the truth. You can eat pizza, you can eat ice cream, you can't eat ice cream all day. That's the other thing. You can't eat ice cream and you can't eat bread all day. The top of the actual food pyramid, right? Can't eat fat, can't eat bread, can't eat sugar all day, but you can eat vegetables, fruit, meat, and dairy all day and not get fat. And so this is, you know, and good fats come from dairy. So yeah, and that's all I have to say about this. And I'm not like into this health food shit. I really don't care about even changing my diet, frankly. I just did what I needed to do to live the rest of my life, you know? There was a very good documentary I watched that kind of got me on this path, but I thought it was going to be juicing that helped me lose the weight. But no. It was actually a fairly simple secret. Bread makes you fat. Who knew? I didn't know. Bread makes you really fucking fat. I mean, everybody knew it, but what I mean to say is that just a bit of bread will make you fucking fat. Just even a normal amount of bread will make you fat. Like what America considers normal will make you really fucking fat. You actually really do need to stay away from wheat. It is this thing that the human body cannot process very, very well. Now, meat is fine. You can eat hot dogs all day, but honestly, the bun is the problem with this. If he just had a fork with a hot dog with some ketchup on it, I actually would be okay with him doing this, believe it or not. What the real problem is here is the bread. He's got a bun there that'll kill America. The hot dog's fine, believe it or not. The hot dog looks fatty, and anybody who eats hot dogs all day is probably going to get fat because it's just like sort of low quality meat. But you can eat hot dogs all day and generally not get fat as long as you stay away from the bread, you know? Oh my God, you fucking idiot.
Well, as you all
know, you are a meat industry tool who took their vote in exchange for being a meat industry tool.
You all know today is National Hot Dog Day, and perhaps you also know that hot dog is.
And he needs to emblazon that hot dog on his hat so that the meat council people see that he's doing his fucking job like a good lobby bot politician.
My favorite meat. I love hot dogs.
I love hot dogs. Only money would get you to talk like this, you know?
Love them.
Money and votes and power.
In buns, I love them outside of buns.
Yeah, you love them in your buns. You fucking... Anyways.
Chips and diet soda. These items amounted to around 2,000 calories, which incidentally is just shy.
And by the way, the calories are from the bread. If you just take the meat and the cheese and the mayo, like 1,800 of those calories disappear. Right? Like literally, a Subway sandwich is like 2,000 calories, right? If you take the bun away and leave the rest of the sandwich, you drop 1,800 calories off of that meal. It's insane. Bread is so bad for you.
Of the recommended.
I mean, it's not bad for you. It's just, it's this thing that you should have as a luxury, like sugar and fat. It is not this thing that you can have every single day. It's more like once a month, kind of like sugar, you know? Like if you're really trying to be a super skinny person that's in shape like an Olympics swimmer or something like that, you don't have any sugar or fat at all, right? But I mean, like if you're a normal person, it's actually okay to have fat once a day, twice a day, you know? It's just you can't have too much of it, and you definitely cannot have bread every single day, or you'll be fat like me. The fat's just melting off my body every single time my mom sees me. She's like, "Oh my God, you've lost another 5 pounds," and I'm like, "Yeah, I stopped eating bread." And she's like, "Yes, you did."
Male. For a man Jared's eyes, it's what the medical community.
I always thought that the sugar and the fat was what made me fat, right? I always thought it was my weakness for soda and my weakness for bacon and my weakness for chocolate and my weakness for ice cream and, you know, shit like that. No, those things are actually totally fine. Totally fine. You can have them as much as you want in moderation, you know? It is what was really wrong was the bread, and it blows my mind. I've done this particular spiel with this particular graphic on my stream like 3 times now, because it just blows my mind every time I think about it. I'm like, why did you misdirect us so badly for 50 years? But I mean, I don't really know why we need them to tell us what to eat anyways. We should have known this. We should have known that veggies and meat are the actual foundations of a good diet, right? And then you get a little bit of fruit and veggies are the actual foundations of a good diet. And then you get a little bit of meat, so you have protein. You have to have protein or you die. So you have to have some meat or some form of protein from something, and preferably as little as you can get away with. And then, you know, and then dairy you can overdo as long as you don't overdo it every day, and you know, and you probably still only gain like a few extra pounds, you know. That's it. Honestly, most of the carbs in a meal comes from the bread and the wheat.
As a starvation.
It's nuts.
Diet. There was no magic behind.
There's starchy foods like potatoes that have high carbs, but they're not even. But high carbs is still not high compared to bread at all.
Jared's dramatic weight loss and the fact that he was eating Subway sandwiches had little to do with it, cutting his caloric intake by 80% overnight and progressing from a sedentary lifestyle to one of regular exercise.
But they needed to preserve the lie about bread because they can't stop selling bread. They make too much money doing that. Selling Wonder Bread and all that to the kids, right? They can't stop selling bread. They know it. The farmers will die if we don't buy bread and eat bread. So they don't ever tell us the truth about this. They've known it for a while, I think, actually. You can't have a lot of bread or you get fat. This is why our politicians aren't generally fat. I think some of them actually know, like, on the inside deal about bread and can't tell us. I mean, the politicians are fat sometimes, but not usually. Usually they're actually skinny, and you always wonder how like celebrities and power people stay skinny and when they eat the same diet as you. Well, it's because you assumed that they ate bread, but no, they cut the bread out of their diet. I bet you.
Look, Jared could probably have just done as well if he'd been eating at McDonald's, so long as he was consuming the same number of calories. Yeah, but I mean, still.
It's true. He would have been fine at any of these places if he had just cut the carbs out, you know, and the carbs are the bread.
The fact that he could have Subway every day and tolerate it is quite amazing, and I think it does speak to something about Subway. I wouldn't discount this as a marketing strategy at all. I think it's rather brilliant. Either way, Jared's weight loss journey was famously successful. He lost 245 pounds in a single year and was finally able to start...
Yeah, because they cut out the bread, which is weird because he was slinging sandwiches to America, though. Do you hear the hypocrisy? And I believe there is a lawsuit here. There's like a tort class action lawsuit against Subway.
Doing all of those things.
A little bit. I believe there's actually some legal action here even, and it just hasn't happened yet. I think there's a tort lawsuit action coming here because they shouldn't have pushed those sandwiches the way they did.
That his old body.
They shouldn't have. Bread killed us.
Not tolerate. Oh, God.
I think somebody needs to pay that sort of something, like the world needs to see that to get their closure. The world needs to see that somebody was brought to justice because of that. They should have seen how irresponsible it was to try to tell the world that eating sandwiches would make you skinny. Bread makes you fat. Anybody in the world knows bread makes you fat. Bread makes you fat. You can Google it. Bread makes you fat. It definitely does. You know? And why they were saying that sandwiches could make you lose weight is beyond me. I believe there is a lawsuit there and always has been. There's just no competent lawyers left, I guess. I want to be a competent lawyer. I see all these targets that I could take $100 million out of. They've left themselves so culpable, but all the lawyers are dumb, I guess. Or they're just too busy doing their jobs. I don't know.
God.
Where are the predatory lawyers that take down these bad people, you know? I want to be a predatory lawyer. Fuck Batman. I want to be the predatory lawyer that takes down Microsoft or Microsoft military, you know? I think that'd be awesome.
It's going to be doing horrible.
You fucked our boys overseas in Afghanistan, Microsoft. I'm coming for your fucking ass. Swiggity swooty, I'm coming for that Microsoft booty, you fucking...
Horrible, horrible things. Is that what Matthew means, or is he just talking about
And I want to prosecute them, take $100 million and give it to the fucking troops that got fucked by it.
chairs in lecture theatre?
You know what I'm saying?
This, oh god. The marketing campaign.
Oh no, I got tackled. Oh no, give me
In
this.
April 1999,
No,
Ryan
no.
Coleman, a writer for the student newspaper at IU Bloomington, featured
Nice.
Jared in a front-page article that detailed his weight loss journey. Because Americans are obsessed with easy weight loss solutions, the media picked up this story and ran with it. I have to say, there's nothing easy about this. He cut his diet.
Don't blow up the cargo.
by 80%
Don't blow up the
and
cargo.
started
Don't blow up the
exercising.
cargo. Don't blow up the cargo. I think he warped out. I think he did.
That is going to be enormous.
Don't blow up the cargo. Don't blow up the
Later
cargo.
that same year,
Don't blow up the
Jared was
cargo.
featured in an article of Men's Health.
I think it's like
titled
10 mil or
Stupid
something.
Diets That Work. How is this a stupid diet? He cut his diet. He cut his caloric intake by 80% and started exercising.
No. What the truth is, and he doesn't know it, it's hilarious. The truth is, the doctors working for Subway had determined that semi-glutides in 2005 and bread were killing Jared. They knew by 2005. They didn't tell us until 2018, something like that. They knew by 2005. They definitely did. They knew about the bread thing. They have known for like 15 years. They didn't tell us because that would kill the farms. It would just kill American farming. It would. And so I'm sympathetic to them lying about it, but I don't think it was very good. It was. I mean, I dislike it, but I understand why they lied. They can't have the breadbasket die. You know. But honestly, we have eaten too much bread. We must let the breadbasket die. We cannot do bread the way we have done it in America the last 100 years. It sounds crazy because like, you know, bread has always been this big staple in the human diet, but so is fat people. You always wonder why we always have fat people. It's because we always eat bread.
It's a clickbait. It's
true.
Clickbait title, isn't it? It sounds like something I'd use on a video, to be honest. And then you'd be like, well, it's not that stupid, is it? But then am I going to change the title? No, because I want people to watch the content I make. Like, I'm sure Men's Health wants people to buy their magazine.
I'm going to give him 5 minutes. If he popped the mobile depot, I think he's thinking that I'm going to jump back there, so I'm just going to wait like 10 or 15 minutes here. It doesn't matter. And if he popped the cargo, he popped the cargo. I don't know why these scumbags keep trying to gank me for $1 million ISK. Do you not have any money, brother? I will pay you 10 million to leave me alone. Do you not have any money? Are you that poor that you need to bang $1 million ISK ship? You piece of worthless shit. You don't deserve the game. It's true. I say it to their face sometimes. I said it yesterday. I said, you fucking pieces of scum shit, you don't deserve the game. They don't. If you're blowing up that fucking treasure box, you don't.
Demanded the subway.
That treasure box is the ship that you're flying. Piece of shit.
We find some way to profit.
Don't be blowing up the treasure chests, you know? And don't be ganking ventures either. They're like $1 million ISK. I am not a fucking gas-huffing venture. I'm $1 million ISK venture at a mining place. You know that ship is worth like 1.6 million. You're a stupid piece of shit. You wasted your time, you know? You are why this game cannot grow. You must have more honor in your fucking countenance and in your actions. This is not honorable PvP. It is you socking a naked toddler on the beach with an AK kit. Maybe you're a Rust player, or it's you know it's like it's purse snatcher level of criminality. It's not honorable PvP. It is you socking a naked toddler with a powered incendiary on fire sledgehammer. And it doesn't look good. It is not impressive. You got no money. You got nothing from it. You know, nothing at all. And I need you to use your goddamn brain, you fucking scumbag piece of shit.
Warp drive active.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You know?
It's from his incredible...
Learn how to play EvE. Don't go bang 1 million ships. Go bang real players, you fucking effort.
Journey. Matthew's put incredible in like quotation marks, like to imply like sarcasm. I genuinely believe this is an incredible transformation. The fact that he could do this is kind of amazing. And if the story ended here, I'd be like, Jared Fogle, legend weight loss dude.
No.
Rather than Jared Fogle, paedophile, is now in prison. At least he's probably keeping the weight off in prison, isn't he? Both from fear and also just crap small portions, I guess. They can't feed you that much in prison, right? They're not going to be like, yeah, let's just give you like a big diet. It's probably going to be the bare minimum they need to feed you, because American prisons are like a for-profit enterprise, right? Which is its whole special form of insanity. The person who kicked things into motion was Bob Okwija. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm probably getting that wrong. Matty's even left me a note. I have no idea how to pronounce this name. Thanks. A Subway franchisee and reader of Men's Health magazine who believed that Jared Fogle was the ticket to taking his store and Subway as a whole to the stratosphere. To do this, Bob pitched the idea to a local advertising agent, Barry Krause, who sent an intern to Indiana to investigate the possible lead. After interviewing employees of the Subway on campus and hearing them confirm with their own mouths that Jared comes in here every day, the ad agency was on board. Soon they reached out to Jared and he agreed to star in a local commercial that would change his life forever. The first ad in what would eventually become a series of over 300 national commercials that spanned 15 years, premiered on January the 1st, 2000. It featured Jared walking in front of his home as a narrator declares, "This is Jared. He used to weigh 425 pounds, but today he weighs 180 thanks to what he calls the Subway diet." The ad then went on to explain how the diet works, and to satisfy the lawyers, this disclaimer was added at the commercial's end. The Subway diet, combined with a lot of walking, worked for Jared. We're not saying this is for everyone. You should check with your doctor before starting any diet program, but it worked for Jared. I love these like legal stuff. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to status. What does subject to status even mean? Then this is like every British ad that you'll hear. It'll be like, sign up for the new Capital One card. I don't know why I'm doing an American voice, but like, sign up for the new Capital One card. And then at the end it'll be
Subject to status, terms and conditions apply. See in store for details.
Then you're like, what? Does
What?
I understand terms and conditions apply. See in store for details. Subject to status. What, my personal status? Like the status of my current bank accounts? I guess that could make sense. But status? Anyway, let's just carry on. The day after the ad was released, Barry Krause was contacted by representatives from ABC News, Fox News, and USA Today.
Docking permission
You know
requested.
you're at a
Docking
banger when
request
that
accepted.
happens. They had all seen Krause's local commercial and wanted to do a story on the inspirational icon that was just beginning to emerge. In the following days, Subway marketing execs also contacted Krause to see if the commercial could be picked up and run nationally. Being the savvy businessman that he was, Krause said, absolutely, and the rest is history. As the commercials premiered nationally, Jared's fame was propelled to unforeseeable levels. He made an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, was invited to be Grand Marshal at a Subway-sponsored NASCAR race, and even carried the Olympic torch as it passed through Indiana for the 2002 Winter Olympic Games, which were being held in Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay, so at first, when I saw this, when you hear this story, you're like, how the hell did Subway? Everyone knows Subway. Not vet. I guess maybe there aren't any crimes yet or anything. I guess that's why. But also,
aren't any
why
crimes
didn't
yet.
they vet him more thoroughly?
Why did they vet
like
him?
have a detective look into? I don't know. They probably don't go that far. But also, it started so small. It started with this one advert that just, the small local advertising agency for a franchisee is not going to like do a background. Maybe they will, but they're not going to do a super thorough background check on this dude to make sure that he's not pedo. But so you can see, and then Subway National pick it up, but at some point, surely you're like, okay, there must be nothing suspicious yet, right? Seeking to milk the hype for all it was worth, Subway then began parading Jared around the country, where he made appearances at new Subway store openings, gave speeches on how to live and eat healthy, and presented his famous blue jeans to audiences. These blue jeans, which looked large enough to swallow the new skinny Jared whole, were featured in numerous commercials and became a symbol for Jared's weight loss success story. In 2002, South Park even created an episode around Jared called Jared Has AIDS. Note the spelling of the word AIDS. Yeah, it's not spelled like HIV/AIDS, but AIDS.
The reason I was able to lose so much weight so quickly was that I got AIDS.
Because that's the entire joke of the episode. He had AIDS, as in he had help. By this point, everyone had already seen the commercials, which had been playing non-stop for almost 2 years, and this exposure was just icing on the cake. You know you've made it, Jared once said,
my
when shows like
motorcycle
South
gone?
Park start parodying you. Jared will teach your kids to eat well.
Oh, my motorcycle.
In 2004, after 4 years of successfully starring in Subway commercials and marketing himself as a health advocate, Jared Fogle attempted to branch out by founding
Oh, no,
the
I
Jared
died
Foundation,
in-
a
I don't know,
nonprofit
I don't
with the
know.
goal of raising awareness of childhood
I don't know
obesity.
about that.
I know where this is going.
During this time, he travelled city to city and town to town to speak in front of children as young as 5 years old. Unfortunately, because of this, there is
Oh,
no
I didn't get
shortage of
my
photographs
tools.
which show a smiling Jared surrounded by groups of young innocent children who are just happy to be taking a photo with a celebrity. To adapt to this new on-the-go lifestyle, Jared began living out of hotels, paid for by the money he made.
You mean
as
the
someone's
guy on a
golden boy.
commercial?
He drank expensive liqueurs, ate fancy
Some
foods, and
celebrity.
at the height of his career was estimated to be pulling in $2 million per year.
That guy that has 8
Just
seconds
being
of a
spokesman.
bit on a
Just-
commercial.
I guess it's going to be a pretty grueling schedule.
Big celebrity.
Traveling around. Although he's traveling around the country for his foundation, not for... also
More famous
for,
than
like,
me,
opening the restaurants
I
and
guess.
stuff. So it's going to be pretty hectic. But also you're getting paid $2 million a year to just show up and smile.
Stay away from him, looks like a weirdo.
Now, we are all aware of where this story is headed. I've spoiled it in the intro, so there's no point in beating around the bush. Jared
Are
Fogle
we
is
all
a
aware?
paedophile.
I think
The fact
sometimes
is,
people
as
don't
well
know.
known as the commercials themselves. However, one of the most interesting aspects of today's story revolves around
I didn't get
Jared's
the
relationship
tools.
with a man named Russell Taylor. Russell met Jared at a bar the day before Jared was scheduled to deliver a
Am I?
presentation to a local elementary school. At the time, Russell was working with the American Heart Association, so he agreed to help
This is
Jared
cancelled.
finish
Oh,
his
yeah, I have to go and
speech.
get fire
The next day,
crystals
Jared
now.
delivered the speech and loved the reception that it received. As a result of this collaboration, the two began spending time together. Before long, Jared was bringing Russell along on his speaking tour, and the two would travel to different cities, attend sporting events, meet with
And have sex
celebrities,
with underage
and hang
children.
out at bars and strip clubs. Now, while strip clubs are not personally my thing, I won't judge you for visiting one occasionally. Yeah, I'm also, I don't really get strip clubs. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I know I've got mates who are British, and like, there's definitely not the same like strip club sort of thing that I feel America has. I was just, this is a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? It's just not for me.
Well, I'm glad of that.
But Jared wasn't visiting strip clubs, he was practically living in them. If he wasn't delivering a speech, travelling cross-country, or playing the role of the wholesome everyman, an image that Subway had worked very hard to craft for him, Jared could be found snorting the finest nose candy that money could buy off the
Oh
backside
my
of a daytime
God.
stripper. Oh my, Jared. That probably also helps with the weight loss, doesn't it? In this way, and many others, the money was going to his head, and he was beginning to spiral out of control. He had a new body, he had wealth, he had a friend who understood him, and he wanted to live it up the way that few people ever get the opportunity to do. Jared was no longer content with living a normal, boring life. He wanted more sex, more booze, more drugs, more everything. I mean, yeah, okay. It's just all become a bit too much for him, hasn't it? As his tolerance for this lifestyle began to build, Jared and Russell started partying in back rooms, doing even harder drugs like smoking crack cocaine, oh my, and inviting strippers back to their luxury hotel rooms for group sex. Using Craigslist, keep in mind that this was back in the day when the site still hosted their notorious adult services directory. Call me naive, but I had no idea that Craigslist had that. I thought Craigslist was where you just sold your old crappy sofa.
We're entrepreneurs.
Jared was able to arrange sex in multiple cities along his tour route weeks or sometimes months in advance. He would email women who posted their contact information to get more details about them. They would reply with a picture of themselves along with a price, and the two would agree to meet at a time and place that was convenient for Jared. After having sex with them to ensure that they were not police officers conducting an undercover sting operation... Wait. What? Wouldn't you want to work out they were a police officer before? You solicited sex and it's like, wait, you're not a cop, are you? Too late, Jared. What? Jared was asked if they knew anyone else that wanted to join them in the fun. Most women did. However, Jared quickly amended his request by adding that he was looking for someone who looked younger or was young. Oh my god, I just figured it out. He's having sex with them to work out whether they're a cop or not, so he can then ask them if they know anyone younger. Oh, dude. Since most of these women were only 18 or 19 themselves, Jared knew exactly what he was asking.
What's wrong with sleeping with
so
an
did they.
18-year-old,
Jared
you
offered to pay them a
fucking
finder's fee if they
weirdo?
could connect him with girls around the age of 16
That wasn't good
or
enough for you?
possibly younger. Because the world is horrendously messed up, many of these women were willing to assist him and delivered him girls who were as young as 12. Jared then did what paedophiles do. I knew where this episode was going. I didn't perhaps realise how young, and also how quickly it would go from like, hey look, it's an inspirational weight loss journey, to like, yeah, then he became a pedo. Jared and Russell, the FFs forever. In 2009, Jared hired his new best friend as the director of the Jared Foundation, and their friendship ascended to the next level. Now, with Russell officially on the payroll, they were connected. Wait, he was just travelling around the country with him for free? I assumed like he was helping him punch up his speeches and stuff. They were just travelling around, just being homies? What the f***?
Friends forever. Best friends forever.
They were connected by business and pleasure, nearly inseparable. However, as I said in the previous section, Jared and Russell's relationship was about to take a more interesting and darker turn. Around this time, possibly because of the rampant drug abuse that he was subjecting his body to,
Possibly.
Russell began to worry that someone was stealing from the Jared Foundation. Several items had recently gone missing, so to catch the thief, he installed hidden cameras around the Foundation's main office. Because Russell didn't know who to trust, he kept these cameras secret from everyone except for Jared. Almost as soon as they were installed, the cameras inadvertently captured footage of two underage teenagers, an employee of the Jared Foundation and her boyfriend, engaging in sexual intercourse inside the office. Jared was absolutely enthralled by this footage and requested, or likely demanded, that Russell not only send him the footage, but also install more cameras to capture even better footage. At first, Russell claimed that he was hesitant, but he would later be persuaded to comply. Bro, at that point you gotta be like, you gotta talk to the police, right? Because you just gotta go and be like, hey, do you want to look into this guy? And even if you don't know, maybe the police will be like, what are you talking about? And I don't think they would be like, what are you talking about? They'd be like, okay. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But for your clear conscience, you need to grass your mate in. And I know he's your boss, and I know he's paying you, and I know he's your friend. But you got to, it's not right. At this time, the dynamic that Jared and Russell shared changed completely. Although Jared had originally treated Russell as a friend and an equal, Jared eventually dropped the nice guy persona entirely and began treating Russell as an inferior to boss around and degrade.
I thought you were my friend.
Mate, he knows you're a weirdo.
That's to bring a miasma
He has
back
that
out
on
here.
you. What are you doing? Is Russell gonna be part
I'm
of
gonna
the
bring a
downfall
bunch of.
Jared?
Oh no, I
That
have
would be
one. I
nice.
have one.
Nice redemption arc for Russell. As he would later testify in court, Russell claims that Jared was the driving force behind their later crimes, as he was the one pulling the strings by manipulating Russell. Jared used the items, job, and home that he had gifted to Russell. He gifted him a home. God damn, dude. As leverage to force him into complying with his demands. This is Taylor's version of events, so take it with a grain of salt. This account of their relationship was part of his legal defense after he was arrested in 2015. Dude, just because someone gave you a house doesn't mean they're manipulating you to the extent that you can set up cameras to watch underage individuals having sex in the office. That is not okay. You're going to... I don't know if Russell's in prison, but Russell is... that sounds pretty crimey, Russell. After Jared made it clear that he would not take no for an answer, Russell placed additional hidden cameras within his own home with the intent to record children in various stages of undress. He placed these cameras in intimate areas such as bathrooms and bedrooms and lured his victims to his home with the promise of drugs, alcohol and money. Once the cameras had captured something noteworthy, Russell edited the footage, loaded it onto a thumb drive and gave it to Jared so that he could secretly watch it from the comfort of his own home, away from the prying eyes of his wife and children. What? Wife and... Wait, Jared's wife and children?
He was a great family man.
Matthew, you just mentioning this now? This sick dude has a wife and children? God damn, bro. Speaking of which, this is a good opportunity to mention that Jared was...
Of course he did. He had like $10 million or something. Of course he did. In this terrible, terrible world, if you have financial stability, you will have marital status. It's something that I really hate about humanity. I think it's why we have rape.
Docking permission requested.
married and had 2 children of his own.
Docking request
Take
accepted.
those children away so quickly. In 2010, as Jared and Russell were traveling around the world on official Jared Foundation business and having sex with women in nearly every city they visited, Jared married his now ex-wife Kathleen Clough. Yeah, now ex-wife. Who would have seen that plot twist coming? She was a special ed teacher at an elementary school. As a side note, as we're on the topic of wives, you should know that Kathleen was not Jared's first wife. She was his second. In the early 2000s, Jared had been married to a different woman, a nurse named Elizabeth, but details of their relationship are scarce. The two divorced in 2007. One thing we do know is that she was granted a restraining order after revealing to a judge that Jared was dangerous and had a bad temper. I skipped over this first marriage because I didn't want to draw more attention than necessary to someone who obviously knew when to cut and run, but I'm bringing it up now to highlight the fact that Jared was showing signs of bad behaviour years before meeting Russell Taylor. Yeah, I'm always like, sometimes there's been a couple of times where writers have been like, and his daughter, and his son, and his cousin, and I'm like, and just naming them, and I'm like, no, these are innocent people who just happen to be related to a monster. Like, why would we bring them up by name? Because there's going to be, like, while I might be like, oh yeah, of course, these people are completely innocent, you know, sins of the father are not the sins of the son. But, you know, there's going to be some weirdo on the internet who'll be like, it's just, like, I don't know if it was, but like, it was a long time ago. But still, just stop it. But still, we shouldn't do that. And I think this is exactly how it should be. Just like, there was this person, let's not talk about them anymore because it's they have nothing to do with this.
Today's episode of the show is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. I'm wearing Sheath Underwear right now, and I did take them off to show you this pair, which I've never worn. I respect you guys too much for that. We'll keep this one, let's just call it the camera, the hero pair of underwear. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of these, underwear is either, it's at least until I discovered Sheath, it was very, very rare to find a pair that is, you know, just fits right.
Oh,
that isn't too tight.
Oops.
I hate briefs. That isn't too
got
loose.
level.
Boxer shorts were my general preference, but they move around too much. And Sheath have come along and they've been like, well, we figured everything out. We've made the perfect piece of underwear. And I'm like, yeah, you have. Basically, it's got your manly needs in mind because it's got all these different pockets, your different manly parts. And let's just say the separation, the comfort, the holding is all very nice. And it's all just a bit of a better experience, really. Plus, Sheath now actually have the option. This isn't actually it. They haven't sent me this yet. So, Sheath, get on that. But they now have mesh and bamboo options, which I didn't even know that. I had a bamboo towel once, which was really soft, which is kind of like counterintuitive, right? Because bamboo you think is like this hard cylindrical wood, but yeah, they now make underwear out of bamboo as well. Send me some of that Sheath, and I'll give you my opinion on it. Look, this Sheath underwear, just go check it out. I know it sounds a bit weird at first, but once you've tried it, you will love it. All you need to do, you can get 20% off your order. That's brilliant. Is go to sheathunderwear.com and use the promo code Criminalist, and you'll get 20% off. Again, sheathunderwear.com. Use the promo code Criminalist, and you'll get 20% off, and you also support this show. Brilliant. Thank you, Sheath. And now back to today's video. The abuse at Russell's house went on for years, and while the specifics are scarce... Oh, I'm sorry. So the cameras were set up at Russell's house. Why are kids getting naked in Russell's house?
Would you like some of mine candy?
Where are the parents? You guys are always like you guys are always like, oh, they just slept with the kids. You guys are always like, they slept with the kids. Where are the goddamn parents? If you do not know that your kid is at someone's house, you are not a good parent. Where are the parents? Ooh, Hazzy. That's better than what I'm wearing, I guess. Well, no, actually, it's not. It's not as good, actually. It's not as good. It has better rads, but it's not as good. And a flashbang, huh? Flashbang and metal detector.
Autopilot jumping.
No! No!
Job. Rochelle was not satisfied by this. Forgotten about
drive
it. That
active.
is very compelling, isn't it? That's a very... Also claimed that just as Cindy Mills had said, Jared had a Subway-appointed sponsor to help him correct his paedophilic behavior. I'm saying this. It's definitely not a statement of fact. This is just something that Cindy said. And given that Cindy didn't go to the police, I'm like, I don't know if I believe her. Cindy later said the reason she had chosen to speak with advertising execs instead of Subway's head of management team, because there's going to be like, while I might be like, oh yeah, of course, these people are completely innocent, you know, sins of the father are not the sins of the son. It's a bit weird at first, but once you've tried it, is that just me? Where you're like, oh, dude, you know, that kind of feeling? And I don't know why I'm feeling it for that, but that just feels so fucking weird.
Approaching Stargate.
Jared who? Never heard of him. Now, let's lighten the mood by talking about Subway for a moment, because legally speaking, Subway was not involved in any way with Jared's crimes, nor did they have any knowledge of what was going on. Yeah, I don't think they ever did. I think, like, when I think of Subway, I don't think of, like, Subway have done a very good job of distancing themselves from this. Like, I'm not a particular fan of Subway, but it's not because of any of this, it's just because I think the sandwiches are very good. I say that because no charges were officially proven to record children in various stages of undress. He placed drugs, alcohol, and money. Once the cameras had captured something noteworthy, Russell edited the footage, loaded it onto a thumb drive, and gave it to Jared so that he could secretly watch it from the comfort of his own home, away from the prying eyes of his wife and children. What? Wife and...
What?
Wait, Jared's wife and children?
He was a great family man.
Matthew, you just mentioning this now? This sick dude has a wife and children? God damn, bro. Speaking of which, this is a good opportunity to mention that Jared was married and had 2 children of his own.
Oh,
Take
good.
those children away so quickly. In 2010, as Jared and Russell were traveling around the world on official Jared Foundation business and having sex with women in nearly every city they visited, Jared married his now ex-wife, Kathleen McLaughlin. Yeah, now ex-wife. Who would have seen that plot twist coming? She was a special ed teacher at an elementary school. As a side note, as we're on the topic of wives, you should know that Kathleen was not Jared's first wife, she was his second. In the early 2000s, Jared had been married to a different woman, a nurse named Elizabeth. The details of their relationship are scarce. The two divorced in 2007. One thing we do know is that she was granted a restraining order after revealing to a judge that Jared was dangerous and had a bad temper. I skipped over this first marriage because I didn't want to draw more attention than necessary to someone who obviously knew when to cut and run, but I'm bringing it up now to highlight the fact that Jared was showing signs of bad behaviour years before meeting Russell Taylor. Yeah, I'm always like, sometimes, there's been a couple of times where like, he's been like, and his daughter, and his son, and his like cousin, and I'm like, and just naming them, and I'm like, no, these are innocent people who just happen to be related to a monster. Like, why would we bring them up by name? Because there's going to be like, well, I might be like, oh yeah, of course, these people are completely innocent. You know, sins of the father are not the sins of the son. But you know, there's going to be some weirdo on the internet who'll be like, oh, you Ed Gein's sister. Like, I don't know if it wasn't Ed Gein or whatever, but like, and it was a long time ago. But still, just stop it. But still, we shouldn't do that. And I think this is exactly how it should be. Just like, there was this person, let's not talk about them anymore because it's they have nothing to do with this. Today's episode of the show is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. I'm wearing Sheath Underwear right now, and I did take them off to show you this pair, which I've never worn. I respect you guys too much for that. We'll keep this one, let's just call it the camera, the hero pair of underwear. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of these, underwear is either, it's, at least until I discovered Sheath, it was very, very rare to find a pair that is, you know, just fits right, that isn't too tight, I hate briefs, that isn't too loose. Boxer shorts were my general preference, but they move around too much. And Sheath have come along and they've been like, well, we've figured everything out, we've made the perfect piece of underwear. And I'm like, yeah, you have. Basically, it's got your manly needs in mind, because it's got all these different pockets, your different manly parts. And let's just say the separation, the comfort, the holding is all very nice, and it's all just a bit of a better experience, really. Plus, Sheath now actually have the option. This isn't actually it. They haven't sent me this yet, so Sheath, get on that. But they now have mesh and bamboo options, which I didn't even know that. I had a bamboo towel once, which was really soft, which is kind of like counterintuitive, right? Because bamboo you think is like this hard cylindrical wood. But yeah, they now make underwear out of bamboo as well. Send me some of that Sheath, and I'll give you my opinion on it. Look, this Sheath underwear, just go check it out. I know it sounds a bit weird at first, but once you've tried it, you will love it. All you need to do, you can get 20% off your order. That's brilliant. Is go to sheathunderwear.com and use the promo code Criminalist, and you'll get 20% off. Again, sheathunderwear.com. Use the promo code Criminalist, and you'll get 20% off, and you also support this show. Brilliant. Thank you, Sheath. And now back to today's video. The abuse at Russell's house went on for years, and while the specifics are scarce... Oh, I'm sorry, so the cameras were set up at Russell's house. Why are kids getting naked in Russell's house?
Would you like some of my candies?
Weirdos, man.
Oh, he was inviting them back with booze and stuff. Wait, Russell's doing this? I thought Russell was just the guy with the cameras. Wait. Oh, it was Russell. Oh, I thought Russell was just getting manipulated to do the, like, tech work and stuff, but Russell's also, like, up to some... Oh, God. You should know that dozens of girls as young as 14 were abused and over 400
It's like they get money and go crazy. I hate
Jared
them.
himself refrained from participating in these acts as a futile way of separating himself from them, and as a result he was never caught on video. However, he was living vicariously through Russell's videos, and he would give him tips on how to lure victims and keep them quiet afterwards. Jared was so committed he even went as far as to purchase better filming equipment for Russell so that the videos would be clearer and higher quality. Russell claims that the entire thing was forced upon him by his sadistic boss. However, I call bullshit on that. Most people couldn't do that with a gun pressed to the temple, but we're expected to believe that he participated in these depraved acts for years because he was afraid that he would lose his job and upset his boss. Yeah, that is your opinion, Matthew, and it is my opinion entirely as well. Nice. I hope that the courts reached that same opinion. No, I don't believe it, and spoiler alert, neither did the judge, but we'll get to that a little bit later. As this was happening, Russell also claims that Jared became increasingly demanding and went as far as requiring Russell to address him as Daddy. When Russell needed something from him, Jared would ask, "What do you need, Daddy, to
Oh
do
my God.
This is... I don't know.
He
why,
ran afoul of a
because obviously this is all
sociopath,
sorts of
and the
horrible
guy
stuff
just
in it.
used him for
But
his
that's
money.
one of those things where it's just like you get. I just had a deep moment of uncomfortableness where you're like, you know, just that. I can't quite describe the feeling when it's kind of
like,
you feel like you're a little bit detached from your skin.
I want to kill myself.
Is that just me? Where you're like, oh, dude. You know, that kind of feeling. And I don't know why I'm feeling it for that, but that just feels so fucking weird. Dude. Jared who? Never heard of him. Now, let's lighten the mood by talking about Subway for a moment, because legally speaking, Subway was not involved in any way with Jared's crimes, nor did they have any knowledge of what was going on. Yeah, I don't think they ever did. I think, like, when I think of Subway, I don't think of, like, I don't Subway have done a very good job of distancing themselves from this. Like, I'm not a particular fan of Subway, but it's not because of any of this, it's just because I think the sandwiches are very good. I say that because no charges were officially proven in US court. However, there are a certain number of, let's just call them unfortunate coincidences that really did not age well. I think these are just going to be coincidences because I can't. Like, companies are not good. Like, companies are not good. They're not bad. We've discussed this before. They're just companies. They don't have souls. Well, neither do we, but you know what I mean. And
neither do we.
I think if they knew about this, they would get rid of Jared very quietly and very quickly, because that coming out would be devastating for Subway's stock price. They're public. They must be a publicly traded company. They're huge. For instance, at the height of Jared's advertising campaign, the official Subway Kids website featured a game called Jared's Pants Dance, where children controlled a poorly cropped JPEG of Jared's famous oversized pants to catch Subway footlongs as they fell from the top of the screen. That is just
somebody broke the water.
I mean, I don't read too much into
Why
that.
did somebody break
Jared
this
like,
water?
Hey, hello there, Subway web
So
developers.
dumb.
I want you to put my trousers.
I should have just put it on my face.
Like, no, that's not what happens. In addition to this, between 2008 and 2013, Subway sponsored many Little League baseball events where Jared would show up to encourage children to stay active. During one of these events, a Subway promotion known as the Subway Design Tour was announced, which allowed children to design custom baseball patterns and submit them online for charity. These baseballs, sometimes referred to as Jared's balls, were transported around the Little League games where parents and kids alike could all get a good
my
look at
God,
Jared's
Jared's balls.
That's just another coincidence. They toured Jared's balls all around the country and even had them shipped to celebrities so that they could be signed once Jared's balls had taken them as far as they could. They were auctioned off. So
this man is a living meme. It's so rare. It's so rare.
I know you must be thinking these situations are humorous and unfortunate considering the circumstances, but they prove nothing. That's exactly what I'm thinking. In fact, if Subway did know or suspect something about Jared's sexual inclinations, the last thing they would want to do is draw any sort of attention to themselves, be it through humor or otherwise. However, there are several serious first-hand accounts that allege that Subway's involvement goes deeper and paints a much more sinister picture of the situation.
Yep.
Really? I am so skeptical. Let's go. So I hope that you enjoyed this little moment of regrettable marketing, because things are about to get even darker. As I said, Subway maintains to this day that the higher-ups of the company were unaware of Jared's misdeeds until he was arrested in 2015. This is in spite of the fact that dozens of witnesses with first-hand accounts claim otherwise. What? I am about ready to have my mind blown, to be honest, and about to use the word allegedly so many times, I hope. In 2008, Jared began having an intimate relationship with the Subway franchise owner, Cindy Mills. Cindy, who would not come forward to the press until 2015 out of fear for her own safety, revealed that Jared had disclosed to her the nature of his sexual interests. He bragged to Cindy about the fact that he'd engaged with sexual acts with girls between the ages of 9 and 16 during a trip to Thailand. After telling her this, he requested that she arrange for Jared himself to have sex with Cindy's underage cousin. What you mean? How do you bring that up? Dude! Instead of going to the police, Cindy attempted to stop Jared by revealing his acts to an advertising manager at Subway on 2 separate occasions. However, Subway executives vehemently deny having any record of these conversations. Advertising manager at Subway. That's not an exec. So, that advertising manager, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel the executives at the company. They know at some point this is going to get blown open. Right? This isn't the sort of thing that is quiet. At some point this is going to happen. At some point the shit's going to hit the fan. Right? Surely. It's too high profile not to. And Jared's like brazen with his abuse. At some point something's going to happen. It would make sense just to quietly get rid of him. and report him to the police. They gotta, but then it does look bad. Oh god, I see why they're in trouble, because if they report him to the police, it's gonna look bad. But if they knew, you gotta do it. Like, surely a PR company, especially, like, it's the modern world, bro. Like, a PR company's gotta be like, look, it's really bad news, but you are the ones who have to go to the police and blow the whistle on this. And it's gonna look bad, but it's gonna look good that you blew the whistle. Oh my god. Okay, I'm coming around to how the conspiracy could be possible, because on the other hand, they'll be like, no, it'll never come out. Let's just continue paying this pedo $2 million a year. Woo! Okay. That same year, Cindy alleges that Jared bragged about having sex with a 16-year-old girl that he met on Craigslist. He offered to show Cindy text messages and photographs that he and the girl had exchanged, but Cindy turned down his offer.
He has completely lost his mind.
I don't understand. I don't understand. After this incident, she once again attempted to start a fire with Subway's marketing team, but they refused to take the complaint seriously. Cindy, why aren't you going to the police? Cindy claims that the higher-ups at Subway were completely aware of his actions because they had assured her that Jared was being assigned a teacher who would get him back on the right track. Allegedly. Yeah, this is all what Cindy is saying. I'm not saying this. It's definitely not a statement of fact. This is just something that Cindy said. And given that Cindy didn't go to the police, I'm like, I don't know if I believe her. Cindy later said the reason she had chosen to speak with advertising execs instead of Subway's head of the management team was that because her main goal, besides stopping Jared, was have his photo removed from her store. How about your main goal be going to the police and getting them in trouble for having sex with a 9-year-old? Okay? Piece of shit. Both you, Jared, and you as well, Cindy, in my opinion. She said she couldn't stand to look at his face every day after learning what he liked to do to little children. No, you really wouldn't have to look at his face every day. Burn that in the street, go to the police, and then he goes to prison. Maybe gather a little bit of evidence first. Gather that evidence together. Record some of those conversations. That would be the right thing to do. At this point, Cindy was too afraid to go to the police, but she did contact a lawyer about filing a lawsuit against Subway for their involvement in covering up Jared's crimes. You are trying to, it sounds like you're just trying to extract money from this company instead of doing the right thing and talk to a lawyer, or if you're just quietly talk to the police. The police aren't going to be like, hey, Jared, your girlfriend just came in here and grassed you up, mate. They're not going to do that. They're going to be like, well, we'll work out how to protect you because they need you. Mm-hmm. Cindy, what is going on in your tiny brain? Allegedly. My opinion that you have a tiny brain, not a statement of fact. Your brain's probably regular size, but in my opinion, it doesn't work properly. Her lawyer informed her that legally there was too much separation between Jared and Subway.
You never know unless you're there.
Because even though Jared was the public
spokesperson
for the company,
hardships people
he was not
don't
directly
speak
employed
of.
by them.
He could have easily have been like, if you ever tell anybody, I guarantee it, he probably did. He probably said, if you ever tell anybody this, I'll fucking kill you. I bet he probably did say that. They all probably do say that. They'll do anything to keep doing what they do, you know? And so he doesn't know. He's too quick to judge. Not like you don't know. She's a victim, even though she's a whistleblower, but she's a victim too. And you don't know what it's like. He could have been like, I'll kill you and your whole family. You don't know what happened there. I bet he probably did. He's such a weirdo.
For they had no basis to pursue legal action. How about the basis for that legal action be like criminal? How about you? I'm going to stop banging it home about how much she should have gone to the police, because everyone knows my opinion is probably getting a bit tired. It almost seems as if this legal layer of protection was intentional, sort of an insulation against future accusations and lawsuits. Yeah, fine, but it's also probably extremely standard. Like, I'm not employed by Squarespace. I just, talk about their products, which I think is smart. Although I'm not their spokesman or anything, to that level. But I talk about them a lot, and I'm paid to talk about them a lot. I think that's extremely standard. I don't think there's anything nefarious there. Another similar account came from a lawsuit filed in 2016 by Jared's now ex-wife, Catherine McLaughlin, in which she claimed that Subway received at least 3 separate reports regarding Jared's sexual activity with children, yet they did not report anything to law enforcement. The suit named 3 entities: Doctors Associates, Inc., Franchise World Headquarters, LLC, and the Subway Franchisee Advertising Fund, and asserted that Subway put its own financial interests ahead of protecting children by failing to adequately investigate the claims. She and her attorney also claimed that, just as Cindy Mills had said, Jared had a Subway-appointed sponsor to help him correct his paedophilic behavior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's gonna work. Sarcasm. What are these people... Unless my knowledge of the law is just completely broken, why is she suing them? What's her loss? Like, suing is because you've suffered a financial loss, something like that, right? She's just saying Subway didn't report these things. That doesn't sound like a civil lawsuit. That sounds like something that whichever government entity regulates this like advertising standards or whoever. Not advertising standards, I don't know, like, whoever. There's going to be a government body, it'll be American anyway, a government body that investigates this sort of stuff, and then we'll slap them with a massive fine.
Yeah, it's,
right? Isn't that what should be happening? She sued them for invasion of privacy, intentionally infliction of emotional distress, negligence, and several other things. Okay, so there's what she's suing for. I'm not sure how that's related to them ignoring these reports of his sexual behavior.
Why is my water gone? Somebody broke
I
it.
don't know. I'm not big brain enough to figure this out, but I guess there's like a lawyer probably thought about it. And let's have a crack. I guess we're going to find out how these lawsuits do. The lawsuit could have shed some light on a very dark situation, but unfortunately was dismissed before being brought to trial due to lack of personal jurisdiction. This basically means that the court in which the lawsuit was filed felt that they had not got proper authority to try the case. This could have been because, strangely, Catherine chose to file her lawsuit in the state of Connecticut, despite the fact that neither she nor the defendants were located in the state. Okay, why? And then the court's like, this